Good evening, everyone. It's day 3, WCOAP. Lee, we're going to be doing a bit of Six Maxine tonight. Who do we have in the booth alongside?
We do. And we've got loads of time. Normally I'm rushing in. Des, get a table open, quick, get a table open. But they don't start for another 5 minutes. I can't even put a table up at the moment. So
loads of time.
As I described in the Facebook group earlier on, tonight we have the wonderful Natalie Bromley and the ever so insightful Peter Wigglesworth. Welcome to the show, guys. How you doing?
Evening. Yeah.
Good. Thanks. What an intro.
Welcome, guys. Lovely to have you on. Lee, I never thought when I said a minute ago, let's go, let's start. We can start a minute early. I never thought that the poker wasn't actually starting. We're ahead of the poker.
We're chill.
We're never ahead of the poker.
But it does give us a chance just to gently bring everybody in, let them know what's going on. Because we have been getting earlier. So we did the first show with Natalie on Sunday night and it was 10 o'clock, usual thing. That was fine. Last night we started at 9 o'clock and had Dan and Tom on, who gave an absolute superb analysis of the PLO8 to a conclusion last night. And of course, tonight, well, we looked at it late last night. Now, Mr. Bromley, in Shea Bromley there, there's 10 players left. He bust in 12th place last night, and I'm guessing probably about 1:45, Natalie. Would that be about right?
That is very accurate. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I was a little bit relieved actually. He's been keeping us up till like 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, don't play tonight.
So he had a nice little cash. So that's second cash of the series for him, and probably that's going to be him done. I'm going to guess because there's work and packing before they're off on a little jolly trip at the weekend. So, but we
might get tomorrow's in. We might get tomorrow's in.
You might do. So we have got 10 left. So the reason we're on at 8 o'clock is because basically we knew this was going to kick off straight away with this final 2 tables of the 6 max. So there are 10 of them left. Didn't quite get close to the guarantee last night, which means there is $25,000 in that prize pool tonight. They're all guaranteed a minimum cash now of $384. Up top, there is a whopping $4,131. Going to be interesting to see how this dynamic plays out with these final 10. Not really many names that we know. One player we certainly do know, because I mentioned it to Pete before we came on air, is Alex Montgomery, who I've mentioned a couple of times so far this week. Picked up a bracelet at least one bracelet in Manchester at WCOAP. But you know of him, Pete, yeah?
Yeah. He's a very solid player, based in Manchester. Knows a lot of people that I know. So yeah, I rate his game. So there's no surprise to see him there, to be honest. And I expect good things from him. I don't know what his stack is like. So obviously...
Well, so basically he's 9th of the 10 players remaining. I'll just quickly run through them. So chip leader is here we go. Brazilian names, always a good start to the show. Get ready for this. João Vitor Cesar de Medeiros from Brazil.
Easy for you to say.
Now just going to be forever known as Joe for the rest of the show. I always have one attempt at it, and then that's me done. So he's got 70 bigs. Marcus Miller from the UK has got 68 bigs. Michael Szalnika from the Czech Republic has got 64 bigs. Another Brazilian player, Leonardo Osvaldo Carreira. From Brazil's got 52 bigs. Dirk Viel from Germany has 49 bigs. Petrus Gordonechko from the UK has got 40 bigs. Carl Guinness, we'll raise a pint to him tonight, hopefully, has got 30 bigs. Bruno Borges from Brazil has got 28 bigs. Alex, 23 bigs. And then the short stack is Raymond McIntosh from the UK with just 15 bigs. But even with 15 bigs, so that's the shortest play, plenty of play. Goes to a 15-minute clock tonight for the day 2s. So I know 6 max does play a little bit quicker, but there's plenty of play in those stacks, isn't
That's a decent clock, 15 minutes actually online.
So, so it will be interesting to see. So top 3 prizes tonight, as I say, I mentioned 4,131 up top. Then it's 2,893 and just over 2,000 for third. Obviously, they're the bracelet positions. They're all guaranteed 384. It might be a little bit slow to start with because obviously we've got 10 players left. So we're going to play down to, we're on 2 tables of 5 as it is. So we're going to play down to 2 tables of 4. Then we're going to be hand for hand whilst we play for the final table. So it might be as quick as I was originally thinking when I saw that we had 10 players left. But we are 5 minutes past. I'm just waiting for the tables to come up and then we'll jump straight in. We always ask everyone to pick a player, but maybe I'll wait till the tables come up before you have a go at that. What I will say We're 2 events in. So this is event number 3. Now, the stats so far are the top 2 chip stacks going into the day 2s have medalled in both of the events so far. With then the third medal coming from mid-pack. But we're yet to have an implosion on a day 2. So the chip leaders going into day 2 so far have pretty much done the business, which is it's quite interesting.
Yeah, it is.
I think that's pretty good. What we could do, Lee, how long to heads up? How many minutes to heads up? I'm gonna roll it off with 70 minutes. We're gonna be heads up.
Wow, you reckon?
I'm gonna take the overs on that.
Yeah, definitely.
Shit. What do I know, right? I'm only second in the fantasy poker leaderboard with somebody else's picks. Yeah, I know my stuff. 70 minutes. What do you think, Lee? The guys are taking the overs.
Heads up in 70 minutes. Yeah. I think we'll be. Oh, it'll be longer than 70 minutes.
You think so?
Yeah.
In
I
6
think so.
max, I'd be surprised. I think the
so.
last couple have ran out pretty quickly.
I would be surprised. Yeah, we will. I would be surprised if we're there. So what I'm going to try and do is keep aware of the 2 tables that are going, and if there's action on either of them, we'll bring that action up for you to see. But we are underway. So what we'll do is we'll jump straight to table Alex Montgomery, and we'll keep an eye on that one to start with. As I say, Alex is somebody that we kind of know here at APAT, so we'll keep an eye on what he's up to start with.
Super Lee. Well, you'll be pleased to know we're not alone, right? There's a few of them out there. Do get a shout out in the chat box, guys. One, Mr. Tony Ross, already a silver medalist. Evening to you, Tony.
Do you know, I was checking the satellites earlier on, Des, because obviously there's been a few issues with the fixed limit satellites today, so I've been just checking everything's going on and all right. Every satellite I went in, Tony Ross had either won a ticket or was in running, still top, in a position to win a ticket.
He's in
every single satellite I went in. It was incredible today.
He's in absolutely immense form, it has to be said. So Tony's out there. Simon Lawler, of course, says, good evening, folks. He also tells us that he's back on TV again. He's watching Peter Wigglesworth in widescreen. Wow. Wow, say no more. Joe Chilmez just joined. Evening all. Evening, Joe. So we've got a bunch of you out there. Do say hello. Keep us company through the evening as I adjust my technology.
Maybe we should be looking to improve our sound. Go what Atmos full surround sound. I mean, that'd be a Pete Wigglesworth experience for people at home, wouldn't it?
I don't think the world's ready for that. Wiggle Vision needs to stay in meta mode for the time being. I don't think the world's ready.
That is a reasonable point in response, I have to say. Right, well there we are. We're good to go now. I feel settled now. I did have rather sort of an issue earlier on in the day, guys. Of course, rail issues today. Lots of strikes. All the right reasons, I'm sure. We got a work from home opportunity, which we haven't had for many, many months. So I decided I'll have another look at Poker Go, right? So what I do occasionally is I come in every week or so, have a look, and I think to myself, will I resubscribe, right? Will I resubscribe? And I keep putting it off, thinking, well, I haven't really got the time. I might watch 30 minutes, never worth it for 30 minutes, but I will do for the main event, right? I'm convinced I will do for the main event. But I'm working from home, right? So I'm sat there doing some meetings and stuff, and I think, gotta try out the Poker Go. So I went in again, went into my account, and I saw that it had cancelled on, and I thought, this is just bad. It had cancelled on the 11th of April. So I thought, crikey, so close.
That seems convenient timing, can I just say?
I've got to do it again. So I had a look, and I saw it. I sort of had a little thing on the side. It was like there was a cancel button. And I said, I don't get it. Why is that there? That's like a UX issue. It says it canceled on the 11th of April, but the cancel button is there. I'll just press the cancel button. So I pressed the cancel button, and it gave me a little message. It says, you'll be able to continue watching Poker Go until the 11th of April. But it said 2022. I didn't get it at all. And then I thought, the 4th of November. Shit, I'm already subscribed. Can't believe it. I've been looking at it for weeks, guys. For weeks I've been just looking at it thinking, won't I? Bloody subscribed.
Missed so much as well.
And last night you could have watched Phil Ivey Heads Up, Des.
Don't say anything. Don't say anything.
No, I was going to say, I
it's
don't
all
know
available now. It's
No,
all
I'm not
there.
going to say. I'm just going to say. Oh, that's all I'm saying. Is
No
FLHE, they've been pushing that hard. Phil Ivey was heads up.
Didn't even know.
So.
That's how bad things are. Didn't even know that. So I will have
I
a
saw it
I
on
will have a look.
Instagram. Delete it. This is an awful naughty question, but I'm never afraid to ask the naughty questions. But has Ivy won a bracelet yet? He must have done.
Yeah, like 11.
Right, okay, fine. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
I don't understand why it was such a big deal that he was heads up. I was
know.
like,
Maybe he was going for his 11th. Actually,
okay.
I think. Yeah.
He, I tell you, he hasn't won one recently. I don't think. Well, he might have won one 2 or 3 seasons ago, but really, all of his wins pretty much were some years ago.
Yeah, I think the World Series ones since he got embroiled in his court case have all been pretty awful for him. I think he's just been, it's been done badly. But I thought it might be one of those, like we always get those biggest Hollywood actors who've never won an Oscar. I thought it was like the poker equivalent of like biggest players who've never won a bracelet. Oh, that would be a good thing for sure. That must be a thing. Sorry, carry on.
No, you're all good. Just reading in the chat. Chris Dobson's out there. Say evening all. First time tuning in. Well, a very warm welcome to you, Chris. Hope you enjoy the show and the conclusion to this 6 Max comp. Tony Ross says I've satellited into every event so far and number 11 as well, which will be the online main. So that's not bad going, is it?
Well done, sir. Well done.
And John Sibley back in again. He was in the chat last night. As Alex is all in with 7s against Ace Queen, needs the 7s to do the biz, and it's going to. And we're going to lose Raymond, who was the short stack coming into this. They were the 2 short stacks basically, but Alex and Ray. And we're going to lose Ray in 10th spot, and that puts Alex up to 2.6 million now, which puts him in a much safer position on the leaderboard. And we're down to 9.
You mentioned John Sibley. John's at home, I believe, with the COVID. So I hope it's not too bad, John. But no better way to get out of it than through watching a bit of poker. Playing a bit of poker, even better.
Dan Austin is in the chat as well. Dan's on the show tomorrow night. So looking forward to that. Now, we did think that was going to be to actually commentate on the fixed limit Hold'em second day and the PLO8 knockout second day. Looking at the lobby, I've got a funny feeling this fixed limit Hold'em is going to end on one day tonight. Looking at the way the lobby
to play it. I don't think I know how to play it, but I don't know whether I might just jump in and try and play it.
But I cannot see in the lobby any details explaining when day 1 pauses and day 2 resumes like the others normally do. So I've got a funny feeling for anyone that's playing this fixed limit Hold'em tonight. I think you might find this might play down to a conclusion.
What is fixed limit Hold'em? What is it? Just you can't just go all in all the time because that I'm not.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Pete, would you like to?
Thanks a lot. I think I like somebody's description of it yesterday. I think it might have been Simon Lawler where he said or it might have been Carl Pilgrim where he said he'd rather stick a ship.
Oh yeah, put a stick in his eye than play it.
But I mean, some people love it, and it's the way that obviously a lot of poker started. So you have a round of betting, and you can only raise by it's a fixed amount of that you can bet, and you can only level raise it, and you can actually have up to 4 raises. Well, 3 raises in the first round of betting. Then you get the flop, and then the same thing applies. The third card, so the turn card, you actually get an opportunity to double that bet. And so it is a really, really slow game. So I'll be surprised if it's a one-day, even with the numbers that you got, I'll be surprised if it is a one-day tournament because it's very, very slow. It's all about starting hands, really. Your pre-flop hand selection, because a lot of people when we play the ones that not the squads, the leaderboard, you get a lot of people who just don't fold at all because it's really difficult to get people to fold. Well, they don't because the bets are so small that it's they'd rather just see a river card or a turn card, and if they've got a draw, they'll always call. So the key is really to start with a really strong hand that's likely to hold up till the end and just keep betting all streets so that you can extract the most out of people. And later on, as the blinds get a bit bigger, then if you're raising each street, then it's quite expensive for people to see. So early doors, people do tend not to fold. That's what you'll find probably tonight. But it is about pre-flop hand selection, in my opinion.
Well, I think I'm gonna jump into it at some point, which
Well,
seems like
APAT show team member Tom Bacon, who was on last night, says any limit hold'em advice from the team on the basis that Pete's just had to explain to Natalie what it is. Then that probably what you've just heard is about as good as it's going to get. I think
Tom Bacon does not need poker advice from me, and he knows that. That's a bit of shade from young Sir Tom. And I certainly I do not have a talent for pre-flop card selection, and I never fold. So it sounds like a terrible strategy for me to jump into this game, but I'm going to do it anyway.
I think the word you're looking for is patience, I believe. Tom says my 3-bet triple barrel bluff with 10 high ended with me betting 1 big blind into an 8 big blind on the river. Can't see this working as a long-term strategy. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. Jesus wept.
What I should say is both that fixed limit hold'em and the PLO8 knockout, which, to be honest, the PLO8 knockout is great fun. I mean, seriously, that is one hell of a great fun tournament because you've got a situation where you've effectively, you can't lose. I mean, every hand's a winning hand, and also you get a chance to win some knockouts at the same time. I mean, what is not to like about that game? Both of those started at 8:05, and they both got late reg for 12 levels, which means you're going to just after 10 o'clock tonight will be your last chance to get into those if you want to.
Well, I'm playing that, and the first hand that I played, somebody got eliminated. And I had ace deuce king jack suited, so it's a very playable hand, and I could have got my chips in pre-flop, but the guy bet 30k on the flop, which I was hoping he wouldn't do, and I folded, and I would have been out in the first hand. So he knocked another.
Oh wow! Down. Well, I don't want to worry you, Pete, but there's it's not a best sounding message in the chat box. I won't tell you who it's from, Simon, but it just says, "Evening, guys. I'm playing the PLO8 tonight. Be careful, Peter."
Oh, is it Ben? Ben Burnhill.
I mean, that sounds proper nasty.
That sounds ominous, doesn't it? There it is. It's on the screen without a name, Lee. I mean, it's ominous. Who do you think is it, Peter?
Ben Burnhill.
Oh, it's not.
Oh, it could be Yarny, actually.
Oh, it's far more vicious than that, I tell you. Far more vicious than that.
It's international in its nature.
Oh, Stefan Fischer.
No.
You've obviously got a lot
You've
of people
got a long This list is like, well, it could be anybody, quite frankly.
There's one of about 150 players.
Yeah, that comes from Frank Bailey. He's clearly running for you, Pete, tonight. I tell you.
Well, we'll be playing against each other next week, so I'm looking forward to it.
How does, speaking of advice from the show team, why is PLO8 different to PLO? And I don't really know. Should I play that instead of the fixed limit?
Play the fixed limit. Go. You can't go too far wrong.
Can I just point out, we have Natalie on the show because she's a superb no limit hold'em player and is just a superb guest to have on the show. But she is the first to admit that when it comes to the other variants, questions like is PLO8 different from PLO is like
well the last time that Lee and I were together in Vegas, which was 2019, was it, Lee? I can't remember when it was. Whenever it was, the last time we were in Vegas.
Oh, do you know it was longer ago than that? I think it was 2017. I think it was.
We had a very drunk night playing Pai Gow. Bet sensibly, gamble sensibly, people. Do not mix alcohol. And you taught me how to play PLO or the basics of it. And we went to bed at something stupid o'clock, and I got up the next day and played the World Series 1K bracelet event of Round of Each. And that was the first time.
You did. Yes, you did. Yes.
Listen, please don't listen to anything that I say. And I was trying to figure out how to play on my phone.
Bloody hell. Listen, Lee, I can take this on if you want. Natalie, let me explain to you in a single sentence, right? A single sentence, the difference between PLO and PLO8, right? So here's the sentence now. Make of it what you will. Do you know how PLO is 9-handed?
Yes.
That's all I've got. What the hell? What's Mr. Bromley doing behind you there?
He's attacking the ready meals.
I don't think he liked what I had to say there.
I'm so sorry, listeners. That was wholly unprofessional, but we seem to have some ready meal was being crucified in my kitchen at the same time. So is PLO 8 cards? then.
So I said, do you know how it's
Why wasn't it
nine-handed? Nine-handed, right? PLO is nine-handed.
8 loads to qualify.
Do you know what nine-handed means?
Yeah, but why is PLO 9-handed?
No, it was a joke. It was a really, really bad joke.
Very, very bad.
Adam's
you know me by
in
now.
The kitchen is going, for God's sake, Natalie, it's a joke.
So basically, right, the way to look at PLO 8 compared to, you understand how PLO works. So PLO 8 basically means the pot there's 2 pots. There's a high hand and a low hand. So the high hand is exactly the same as Omaha normally plays out. So the pot is always split between the 2. The low hand is the lowest 5 cards from 8 down. Straights and flushes and all that don't count.
So that's where the 8 comes in. It has to be.
So that's where the 8 comes in. So it's a low hand.
Who made this game? That's unreasonably complicated.
Now I'll tell you where it gets really, really horrible. Is
on the start.
Those pots can then get split and chopped up as well. Just watching Alex all in with Ace King versus the Ace 8 at Bruna, and it's going to be another win for Alex, and he's really flying now up to 50
he's
bigs.
up to 50 big blinds now.
So you could win the high hand, and potentially chop the low hand. So you could lose the high hand and chop the low hand and end up getting quartered and only win a quarter of the pot. Even though you won, it's just really frustrating.
That's one of the biggest mistakes that people make, really, is that they believe they've got a low hand, they're not low hand, and so they overplay that hand, but don't think about having a high hand as well.
Absolutely.
John Sibley has just summed it up beautifully. In PLO, you scream when you get rivered. In PLO 8, you scream when you get quartered. Yeah.
I think I'm reaching the conclusion that the fixed limit hold'em is probably the way to go tonight, even though I'm not really knowing how to play that either. But I feel like that's the lesser of the 2 evils. And I feel like we need a disclaimer on the show, listeners. Gamble sensibly. Do not enter tournaments of games you do not know how to play.
I don't think PLO 8 is gambling. I think it's much more entertainment.
But what I will always say with any of these variants, we talk about, says, and I don't play masses of them, and I know lots of the APAT guys play all sorts of different variants. Is APAT's great for learning to play those games. We have most of these games on either $5.50 or $11 every single week in a friendly environment, sensible times, sensible buy-ins, good APAT community that are playing them, that play them properly. So don't play them as as just a bit of a crapshoot. Which is, if you ever want to learn these games, you can drop in most evenings and pick up a $5 game or an $11 game, and you'll get a good quality game, and you very quickly learn, pick up on what you're doing with these things. So
yeah, that's fantastic. I've got to say, I'm not feeling as confident with my overs bet on Des's heads up times right now.
I'm telling you guys, 70 minutes.
Oh, I think we're well good. So before the show started, guys, we were talking about when we thought the heads up was going to hit. Des put the line at 70 minutes, he thought, which would be 9:15, effectively. We're down to 8 players. We're now currently playing hand for hand for what will be a false final table of 7. So, but I think we're a good way off this yet. I really do. He says.
So, Des, seriously, what was that 900 joke?
So the joke was, and I appreciate that it landed against a wall because I heard the noise somewhere in the back of your kitchen. My smart attempt was, well, you know how PLO is 9-handed. I was meant to follow up with, well, PLO 8 is 8-handed.
Yeah,
obviously it's got nothing to do with the hand. The joke is that nobody really knows, unless you're in the circle. Nobody really knows what the hell is going on in PLO 8.
And Tony Ross says,
a recommendation.
I say Tony Ross says it perfectly because on a Thursday night when we had to drop the stud game, we had to find a new game to put in there. We came up with let's play fixed limit Omaha high-low. So if you want a combination of the 2 games that are being played tonight, we run that on a Thursday night for $5.50, and it's highly entertaining if you want to play that one. So it's effectively fixed limit.
I actually think there's more skill in that than there is in the fixed limit hold'em, to be honest. But that's just a personal preference.
But, do you play a lot of the variations, Pete?
Yeah, that's how I started playing poker, really. I started playing, pot limit hold'em was the first tournaments that I used to play. and then I played a lot of cash games, and the cash games were invariably high-low Omaha. So that's why I'd say I'm probably better than, well, I wouldn't say I'm better, but I'm as good as most in those disciplines. So
what's your favourite?
Yeah, definitely PLO8. Actually, on Poker Stars, they used to have no limit high-low, which was really mental. And they used to have like a $2 one, which Carl Pilgrim and I used to play, and we used to make a fortune from it because people just wouldn't know the hand selections and they'd just get their cards with only 2 cards. And predominantly, if you start with a particularly good hand that's got a good low hand and a decent high hand, you're going to win more often than not. So $2 would quite often turn into $1,000. So it's really
hell.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting because that's kind of how you play Hold'em, isn't it, Pete? Any 2 cards on your fold.
Yeah, definitely.
He knows.
Well, I think now that you've played on the team with me, Natalie, you know sort of how I play poker.
I did not need to be on a team with you to know how you play poker, Pete Wigglesworth. I've been at the brutal end of your any 2 cards, particularly if they suited handouts for many years, and long may that continue, sir.
Yeah.
It's
no, but like I said before, we've talked about this before.
Oh, look at that picture!
Being on that team was probably one of the highlights of my poker career. To be honest,
amazing, wasn't it?
It was just an amazing weekend, and so credit to APAT for organising that. Obviously, it's always nice to be on the winning side, but the camaraderie, just everything about that weekend was amazing.
Yeah, it was. Thank you. Yeah, we still keep talking about it, don't we? We've still got a group together, and we're still all that talk all the time. It was. Well,
you're going to be back 2023 as defending champions. What I would recommend is don't do what the Nits team did, where they put that on the back of their shirts.
I should have just put a little target.
That didn't work. Yeah, that didn't work. Yeah.
No, but I think the overall thing that I took from that was just the whole weekend was just absolutely amazing. And like I say, half the team didn't make day 2, half the team did, and the players that did make day 2, even me, Paul, and Simon were there to support the other guys and just give them a bit of advice and a little pat on the back when they did play well. And Brendan just performed outstandingly. So did Tom, and James as well was just ridiculously good, and Natalie.
Spectacular weekend.
It was.
And our other lady friend, Carrie.
Oh, Carrie's ace. It was the first time I'd ever met Carrie, and we just got on like a house on fire. She's such an absolute diamond. Person. She's lovely. Listeners, I'm going to go on mute for a little while I eat my tea, so I'm not scoffing. But I'm still here.
Of course, Pete, you're repping England next week.
Yeah, I'm really
looking forward to that. Yeah.
Yeah, I am. I mean, it's been, well, as you well know, it's been delayed for quite some time. So we've really been looking forward to that. I was a little bit disappointed to lose Dave Garden, and because I was really looking forward to playing on the team with him and Jen. But I've seen Jen a few times since, and as I say, it's a shame that they've had to sort of pull out the team. But we've got 2 worthy replacements, Tom and obviously Gaza.
Yeah.
So really, really looking forward to it. And, looking at the names that we're up against as well, there's some stalwarts.
Oh, yeah.
For the other teams as well that I'm really looking forward to playing. The Welsh team's always going to be a threat. Dan Lowe, I have a lot of respect for. So a lot of the other teams I know it isn't going to be easy. So we've got to be at our best and not be too complacent, really. We have to play our best. And I'm looking forward to, because I'm playing 3 lots of PLO8, which I'm really pleased about because that's like my dream. And then playing the MTT, I'm really looking forward to that because I just think all those events should suit me. Whether I can perform to the level that I want to is another story. And there's obviously a little bit of luck involved as well.
I have to say, Pete, we put together a lot of events since we launched. And if you think about the WCOAP in particular, so many different, formats and what have you. But the international team events, I think we put the first one together because I'm pretty sure you played in it, Lee. I'm going to say 2008, and Brighton, and they're special. They are, I think, probably my favorite events in the season, the international team events, because the atmosphere is different. I mean, the WCOAP main event is very big, But for those team events, given the scale and size of them, the atmosphere is different, and the camaraderie and stuff like that, and the pure competitiveness of it, because inevitably players are making decisions for their team as opposed to necessarily for themselves. It's very, very, very special event.
Tell you, back the first one we ever did, which was the European team. It's the only time I've ever represented Wales in that event. I mean, this is how we're back in. We wore formal shirts. Do you remember, Des?
I do. Black,
and everyone, all the teams were in black formal shirts with just their flag embroidered in on the front. And and it was all very, very formal, and right, this is serious stuff. Nowadays we're polo shirts, and then you get the likes of Brian Yates and Redfern rocking up in
white leather.
in leather white jackets, and
was that the event, Lee, that I played that heads up game with the lad dressed as a shark? Was that the same event in Manchester?
They were that wasn't the team. Well, the team event would have been on at that one as well. Yeah, so it would have been a more recent team event. Yeah. These days we get people turning up in shark costumes and or whale costumes. Which is quite random. Actually, the whale costume is the guys that won the UK team event last time before you guys did. So that's that crew. So Matt and the guys. So but it's moved on from there, and we've had some extraordinary stuff. Do you remember the one in Luton, Des, which was a tie, and we had to go to
that was magnificent.
We had to go to
France
a penalty,
Poland, right?
A penalty shootout heads up.
We went to three
matches,
three
to
heads
decide
up. It was insane. I mean, the rail there was absolutely insane. The celebrating when various tables were won was just freakish. France won it in the end, right? Jean-Michel and his team, Bellucci.
Absolutely incredible. But it's a great experience. And I said it the other night, and I'll say it again. The team event next Wednesday and Thursday starts at 3:00 in the afternoon, a little bit before the evening comps for the individual events. But if you're about in Nottingham on the Wednesday afternoon or Thursday afternoon, Dusk to Dawn will be open. If you want to come in, rail the guys, support what's going on. It's a great atmosphere and well worth being a part of. There's certainly worse things you could do for the afternoon than checking out the team event and supporting the countries as they go for gold. I said to you this would slow up when we got to this hand for hand before the final table. We're down to 8 at the moment. Just keeping an eye on the other two events. We've got 45 runners in the fixed limit hold'em. We are only 5 runners away from hitting that guarantee, and I think that's going to that's definitely going to be done, because there's another hour and a half of late reg at the moment in that
brilliant. One. I'm quite surprised at that, to be honest.
Yeah, the PLO8 knockout has already got 113 runners in that. That needs 150 to hit the guarantee. I think that's going to get pretty close to that one as well. Tonight. Ukraine putting on a fine performance early on. Currently, they've got 3 of the top 4 chip stacks in that PLO8 knockout. The Ukrainian players love PLO8. Regularly play those games on whether it was poker squads or leaderboard ladders, all during lockdown and everything. We always would see plenty of Ukrainian players in there, and there'd be something quite nice about the Ukrainian gold medalist at some point this week, Des. That feels like it would be a good thing to happen this week.
Agree. Let's hope we get to see one of those.
So I popped up the first 2 winning kind of posts today with from Monday. So first 2 medals heading off to Georgia and Kazakhstan. So it'll be interesting to see where we're going tonight. We've already lost 1 Brazilian player, but we still got 2 Brazilians in there, a German and a Czech Republic player. Otherwise, it's going to be medals going to the UK. But I've got a funny feeling we might be shipping at least 1 medal to Brazil tonight, Des, I think.
Yeah.
Are we going to pick a player then?
Yeah, we can do. Do you want to wait to get final tables? Wait for 1 more bust out, and we'll go from 1 more bust out, and we'll go from there. So Simon's Lawless just asking in the chat, say, will he be announcing future events soon? Yeah, as I said last night, and Des did drop a soon in on that. We're very very close to confirm what the autumn schedule is going to be. I mean, I will tell you that after the World Champs running next week, so running up to the 3rd of July. I mean, don't expect anything else in July and certainly most of August, I would say. But then certainly from September, we're looking at hopefully 3 events in the UK, then plus a couple of events in Europe. Those of you will know that we regularly go to the poker Malta Poker Festival in the autumn, and we've done that pretty much year in, year out for a good while now. So you'll expect to see us there as well. But we've also got a couple of others in the pipeline that we're going to try and squeeze in before the end of the year. And one of those UK events will be a kind of team format event as well. Can tell you no more than that at the moment, but look for something along the lines of the kind of the counties events that we've run in the past. We'll be looking to do that, probably a little bit more flexible on being able to come along with 3 of your mates as a team and enter a comp for the weekend. So hopefully we'll be able to get those out to you, say probably after the Worlds will be the likelihood.
Are you likely to be in Belgium at all?
Well, we're talking to the Belgium guys who are desperate to try and get things back up and running again. It's been really tough going poker in Belgium, unfortunately, and regulations and rules have changed there. Part Poker lost the Dutch players as well. I don't know whether you saw that earlier on in the year. They had to pull out of that market, so it's difficult times at the moment. And obviously, they've really struggled during lockdown. But from talking to the guys, they're kind of getting back to things now. They're starting to see some events kicking off again. So we'd certainly hope to be able to get out to Spa or Namur at some point. Maybe not 22, might be into 23, but yeah, we certainly would hope to be out there again, because we know the player base out there is huge, and we know other players from other countries love traveling out there to do it. I mean, I went to Spa a few years back. Absolutely incredible weekend, really is. I mean, the casino there is just amazing. The oldest casino still going in Europe, I think it is, the one in Spa. Absolutely superb place to go and visit. So yeah, well, hopefully we'll be back out there at some point.
See, Simon Brooke is out there as well, Lee. He mentions Dan Lowe, so I think we're probably going back to an early part of the conversation. But good to see Simon back in.
Yeah, Simon's had some good success in the satellites today. So I think he's going to be in both of the events tonight.
Good.
And I know the Gotham guys are starting to build up, ready for next week. I know a lot of them are travelling up to Nottingham. I think they've got a house booked up there, so looking to enjoy the world champs. I'm thinking about whether we might try and we were looking at things. There was a bit of chat in their group about what to do, when the poker's kind of down, and they were talking about the cinema. There was a bit of chat about the new Top Gun film that you mentioned the other day. I got myself thinking, there's a couple of really good mini golf courses up in Nottingham, and there's also a foot golf. And I think maybe we should get an APAT show team versus Team Gotham kind of Ryder Cup style mini golf going on one of the days. Yeah, and we'll I like
it. I like the thought of that.
Maybe we should put a challenge up there and see if we could. We'll take the Team Gotham guys on something in the morning, because obviously most of the events, say it's kind of mid-afternoon before Dusk Till Dawn is open most days, so it does give you a chance in the mornings to find something to do and check out Nottingham and surrounding area. So it's well worth say having a look and seeing what's about. But I just thought, if the weather's good, maybe we should take them on. We'll do get a proper match draw up, and we'll take them on at a bit of golf.
So I'd probably find that they're recovery then, no?
I'd probably find that they're all really good at golf or something like that. There we go. See, Simon's in the chat now going, you do know Ian Witt plays mini golf semi-professionally. There we go. See, what did I say?
Set yourself up there, Lee.
Tony Ross is spot on. This is what I didn't want. I thought maybe you shouldn't say it. Don't want to lower the tone of the show or anything. But when I was looking up the golf courses in Nottingham for mini golf, there genuinely is one that's called Glory Holes.
Oh, fantastic!
So but there is a foot golf. a course down by the university.
Short stacks all in.
Oh, lost you there, Pete, for a sec, or I did anyway. But...
I was just saying, one of the short stacks is all in on the.
The poker.
Yeah.
Pete's concentrating on the poker.
Petrus, let's see what Joe is going to do. Makes the call. Oh, it's ace 8 versus. Hopefully, you don't want to see anybody go out here with that. That would be a real shame. And it's not going to happen. That's okay. Nobody wants to see that. I'm sorry. I'm just a firm believer. If you're all in and it's just the same hand, but suited but different suits, nobody wants to see the flush hit ever.
I think you'll find each of them does.
No, I don't think you do as a player. To me, that it's.
I'll take it.
Would you really? I don't know. Maybe I'm not competitive enough, but to me, I would just be. That's just a horrible way to bust somebody.
I think if you take it though, you've got to be prepared to lose to it as well.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair enough. Yeah. That is fair enough.
I'm keeping my lips sealed because that's.
Yeah, you can shut right up, Pete.
Yeah.
They've got formally.
There's history here, is that okay? Yeah.
Oh yes.
No.
Oh dear.
What a lovely selection of guests you chose to have on this evening.
Listen, brighter times. I think we briefly mentioned, did we not, Kevin Houghton? Maybe it was last night or the night before.
Yes, it was. Yeah. Last night.
He's gone really deep in this comp.
In the Millionaire Maker, yeah.
He's still going.
Has
he's
he?
down to the last 30 or 20 or something. Like guaranteed. I'm going to say about $43,000.
Yeah, and it's $1 million, and it is $1 million up top. So very nice indeed.
Fair dinkum, as they say. So he'll be coming back to play presumably at around 10, 11 tonight. They'll go back into battle.
You might even be around now because it's normally about a midday start, isn't it? Unless they're a bit later, as the later in the comp you go. But
it's 8 hours behind, isn't it?
Yeah. So another all in from Petrus. Is Joe going to make the call again this time? It's 9 more bigs to do so from his 33 big stack.
Be a pretty disciplined fold. But he may just be putting pressure on him.
Oh, ace 10 versus ace 10 again.
Oh,
wow.
my word.
Wow.
I think that should have been a snap call.
Bloody hell.
Not quite sure what the delay was there.
Hey, do you see I was going to say the irony of the clubs and diamonds. I mean, didn't they both have clubs and diamonds the last time out? They'd have both been freaking on that flop. And
so Triplin's in the chat. He says, I remember who the champ was at the mini golf last trip to Knott's, with a little emoji there. I mean, I'm suggesting it. I'm suggesting it might have been him then, possibly, to say this. And John Sibley just says, just so you know, last week's DTD changed their opening times to 30 minutes before the first comp start rather than an hour before. They haven't notified us that they're doing that for the Worlds next week. So they'd always confirmed that it was going to be an hour before. So I'm assuming that's still going to be the case for us next week. But if they have decided to make that change to just half an hour before, then we'll make sure to let everybody know as soon as we possibly can about that. John, but appreciate you letting us know. That's been the case for, I presume that would have been for the deep stack last weekend. So. I'm trying to think now whether we can get, if Tristan did win the mini golf deal, can we get him in the show team? Is that doable? Surely we can. Yeah.
Absolutely, you can do anything you
want.
want.
You can do whatever you want, Lee.
Yeah.
Tristan feels like a gun for hire. Surely we could, it's only a matter of negotiating the deal, isn't it? It's pretty much that's all we've got to do. Yeah. It's I'll tell you what, I'll have a word with my contacts at Man United because they're very good at getting deals across the line. So I'll have a word with them. They'll have it done by maybe next Christmas. So we'll see what we can make happen there.
Well, folks, I have some news. The Millionaire Maker did, in fact, start a little earlier on. They are now down to 19 players. Low chips, 2.5 million. High chips, 28.5. Still in. Kevin Houghton, 10th place. 8.5 million chips.
Amazing.
Sweet Jesus. So who have we got? John Sova is leading it. Tyler Gaston, Alan Tenorio, Vito Di Stefano, Jessica Postula. I'm having a look down. I don't see any. Nick Marchington. That name rings a bell. Did he make a WSOP main event final table going back 3 or 4 years ago? He's a Brit. Nick Marchington. Maybe, maybe not. But he's from Hornchurch. He's still in. He's in 9th. Kevin in 10th. I don't see any other names that I recognize. So at this point, the prize pool. Okay.
When you get on this list, Natalie, in a couple of weeks' time,
yes, please.
What are you putting down as your hometown?
Oh,
are you going to put Burnley, or are you going to put
you're going to go for Burnley.
Posh place in the northwest? What are you going to go for?
I think I made a day 3 when we were there in November of the little one.
You did, yeah, had a good run, yeah.
I seem to think that I just put. I think I put Lytham. But
what, Royal Lytham?
Obviously. Do you not know me at all? But yeah, that's a really good point actually, because I think on Pocket Fives I'm still down as Burnley, and I think in some of my your locations are driven by your address, aren't they? But yeah, my default position. So whenever I do anything that's in the public eye, my town always, especially if it's football related, I just say my hometown's Burnley. There is also a security thing as well. I'm not necessarily sure I want people knowing where I live. I get enough crazies who DM me on various social media.
So Tom Bacon is in the chat saying Marchington came 7th in the main a few years ago.
That's
but
right,
more importantly than that, in Tom Bacon news, bear in mind his previous comment about his strategy for the fixed limit hold'em. He's chip leader at the moment of 48 players.
He's figured it out, hasn't he?
Would you be surprised to know that we are 42 minutes into this fixed limit hold'em comp level 5, and we've got 48 players of 48. Nobody's bust yet. So.
Wow, that's not a surprise, is it?
No surprise. Some have probably tried, but no joy.
Tried to give their chips away already, going, the pain is too much. But we are only 2 players away from hitting that guarantee, so I think we're going to comfortably get there. We've got 121 in the PLO8, say with another hour and probably an hour and a half of late reg in that as well. So we need another 29 in that to hit that guarantee as well. I think we may well do both of those tonight, which would be lovely, to say the least.
So listen, just finishing on the Kevin Houghton thing. So there's 19 left. When they hit 17, they go up to 54k. When they hit 13, they go up to 68. We go up to 85 at 11th. We hit 108k at 9th. So this goes up to $1.1 million. With 19 players left, if you're, and I'm going to pitch this to both Peter and Natalie. If you sat in this event, 19 left, you can see what's up top. You can see what you've got now. What's in your mind? What represents a good final day here? Sensibly, poker player.
I think my perspective, you've got to discount what's up top when you've still got so many players to go through. I think when you get into the final table, that's slightly different, and I think that's when RCM for me comes more into play. But at this stage of the tournament, you've still got 19 players left. I think you've just got to. I would just try and stay as focused as possible and in the zone, and just don't make any mistakes, because I wouldn't want to go out at this stage on making a mistake. If the cards don't follow, you just take a bad beat, but you've done everything right, then que sera. But I think with 19 players left, I kind of ignore because I think you can get overwhelmed with that amount of money, and I think you can start trying to fold your way to $1 million, and that's never going to work. You're never going to get that.
It's interesting though that you've got $1 million in your mind, even if you're talking about folding your way to it. Are there players out there who would look at this and say, right, 19, if I can survive 9-10 players, I'm going to get a 6-figure payout, so at this point, not 108, if I got 138, if I was walking away, if somebody offered me 138 right now, I'd probably go home happy. What do you think, Peter? What would your approach be?
I'd probably say the same as Natalie, because personally, I've only played one WSOP event anyway, which is a monster stack, which Lynn Beaumont final tabled.
I remember
And
that. Lovely tournament.
yeah, that was amazing. I railed that. So what I would say is really you don't want to make a mistake. And I watched a player the other day, and he made a snap call against an all-in with ace queen, which is horrendous. When he was in a really strong position, he didn't need to make that call, and it completely changed his tournament and derailed it. So I think, you know, my personal goal would be to make the final table, and then you know, the dynamic massively changes when you get to the final table because of ICM and just people playing a little bit more timidly. But I think with 19 players, you've got a 1 in 19 chance of winning $1 million. You're not really thinking about the money at all at that stage, I wouldn't think. You'd just be excited to be in that position anyway.
Yeah.
You'd be very enthused. But I agree with Natalie, you wouldn't want to make a mistake. So that, you know, you'd spend your whole poker life thinking, oh damn, I tried to bluff with such and such a hand, it was awful. And you're not going to get in that position many times in your life.
You try and stay disconnected from the money, and it's 19 players at any other tournament. What was your experience, Lee, the Sky Poker event, when you got down to 2 tables? You know, the money must have looked insane. How did you manage to cope with that?
Well, actually, you need to go back, I guess, for my kind of experience of this scenario, back to the Wembley event. Because I bust that Wembley event making a huge mistake. I mean, really just painfully stupid, naive poker mistake when we were down to about 16 with some serious money up top. And that was a huge learning experience for me. I still remember that drive back from Wembley back down to Southampton that day, just playing it over and over in my head. And actually, funnily enough,
for anybody who's watching in, Lee, who might not remember the story, tell them what you walked away with and what the sums were up top.
So I cashed for about 10K, finishing 16th, but it was the tournament where they were guaranteeing $1 million up top in this tournament. So, and there was thousands of people in it, and so it was down to 16. I think it was day 5 of it or something like that, and yeah, and we all kind of knew that if you got onto that final table, the chances are they were going to agree a chop, and you were all going to walk away with probably a couple of $100,000, which is what actually ended up happening when it got there. So that's so it was a completely different ICM, but I wasn't even thinking ICM at that point. But I just made a really, really bad mistake, which I didn't need to do. And to this day, I still remember Devilfish's voice in my left ear as he called out the exact hand that Nick Hicks had as he flipped it over. And I realized, what an idiot. What was I doing? Because I had pocket kings and a king had come down on the river, and I was oblivious to what anything. I just completely was on a different planet, and with the way I played the hand out. And I beat myself up for it for a long time.
Did Hicks have a straight?
Yeah, he made it straight on the river, and I didn't even need to re-shove all in on the river when I shoved all in and he snap called, and I say it played in slow motion. I shoved thinking I'm going to win a big pot here.
Was that when you hit a set of kings? Wasn't that something?
I had set of kings, and Nick made the call before Nick had even flipped his cards. Devilfish went Jack 10. Yeah. I heard Jack 10. Looked and thought, he's got Jack 10, hasn't he? He's made his straight because the board had come down ace. I think it was ace on the flop, which kind of scared me off a little bit. And then saying I'd allowed him to get there to make his straight, and then of course it really improved my hand on the river, and I was oblivious to the fact that he might have made a straight or anything like that. And he said he snap called and bang, and it was all in slow motion, and I was stepping up and walking away with 10, which at the time was my biggest ever cash. I mean, it wasn't a bad it wasn't a bad day by any stretch of the imagination. Yeah, don't listen up, but it was a let's look at what you could have won kind of scenario on it. So, and it took me a long time to get over that and realize what I needed to do if I wanted to, improve my game.
What are you doing left with if you'd have folded that river? Like, how much did you have back?
Oh, stack chunks.
Oh, really? Oh, that's annoying.
Chunks.
So, Lee, I guess that, the experience that you've told us of there is exactly pretty much what both Natalie and I think Peter said you want to try and avoid, the pain of having to walk away and think too much about the money. But it sounds to me as if there was a hell of a lot going on. I mean, was there a point going into day 5, and I guess you'd be inhuman not to have at some point thought long and hard about the money? You know, what sort of, was it a distraction? Did it, you know, did it hold you back? Was it not a factor? I mean,
yeah, no, it was a distraction, I think, in that particular tournament. It definitely was, because of the numbers we were talking, and you're looking at what you could have won. You then roll that on to sort of another year later, after I'd realized what I needed to do, and took out some training and did some training courses. Funnily enough, they are the similar training courses which APAT now has access to, and we will at some point be giving out to members for free. So trust me, I can speak from a very good position. They're very good. And roll on to then the Sky event, and I can genuinely say the money never even crossed my mind.
It's the way to do it.
Never even crossed my mind in that event. Genuinely wasn't a problem. I think part of the thing there was also, there was no deals at that Sky event, although there was a deal that was tried to be done, but
in the car park.
But when that discussion took place, I walked away from that going, "Now I've got you." So because the heads up went on for ages, it was a lot. It was a really drawn out heads up. But at that point, when that discussion took place, I was like, "No, I think I'm going to be good here." So I saved myself a bit of money there by that. But yeah, it just didn't even cross my mind. Genuinely didn't even cross my mind.
And tell me, did you have, you know, when you were talking to Jen or, you know, Paul or any of the people around you, did money creep into their communications with you, or did
no,
they
hardly
space?
During the day, didn't speak to Jen at all. Whilst I was playing, and I had some good people on the rail. You know, Paul was on the rail because he played the that final table. As I said last night, if you look early on, you'll don't blink, otherwise you're missing.
It's like a hand or something like that, isn't it?
He is there. Honestly,
he made an appearance.
And Stu Oliver was there on that final that rail as well. And so but both, they never talked money.
Yeah,
it was always just a case of might talk a couple of hands, but really wasn't. It was just about just keeping chilled. And and I think that probably did me a lot of good. I see some players when they're playing a big final table and they're back to their groups of mates and they're analysing hands. And I'm not sure how much good that actually does you at that moment in time, or whether that actually doesn't allow you to
put
just
you
move on to the next hand. So it isn't just about discussing the money, but I guess sometimes it's even just discussing the hands that you're playing. They've been and gone now, and it's, you know, I don't know how much good it does necessarily, but it worked for me anyway. So
it's interesting hearing that, because I think when we're talking as well about money factor, when we were on the show on Sunday and we were talking about the ladies tournament and just the drive and just genuine desire to win that one. If I was on the final table of that tournament, the money would absolutely not be in my mind at all, because I would want the prestige of winning that bracelet. I would want the prestige of winning the women's world champ. Yeah, I don't know, the WSOP women's event. So sometimes it's not just about just forgetting the money and playing just the best game. Sometimes there is the competitive, the sportsman element in you. There is the Olympian that's going for gold medal, and the money is to be respected and is a wonderful bonus, but it's the title that you're after.
Yeah.
You know, Olympians don't go for a silver medal, they go for gold. And sometimes it does that.
I always say, watching a lot, you can watch a lot of poker and it is man or woman wins poker tournament and wins an amount of money and great, move on to the next one. It's the poker tournaments. It doesn't matter what level it is. It can be World Series, or it can be, it can be just your local games. Those ones where it means so much more to people. Things that stick in my mind are things like Tristan winning the individual UK team champs in Blackpool when raising money for Raise for Jack and all of that, and the emotion that was there on that. It wasn't, it was because what had been achieved there. And sometimes you see a player that picks up an APAT medal, their first ever APAT medal. It's not about the cash. It's what they've achieved and what they've won with that. And you can see in their eyes how much it means to them, more so than necessarily, the money itself. I suppose when it's up and it's millions, I mean, Kevin's there now playing for the potentially $1 million. I mean, that's incredible. I guess that probably it's got to be on your mind.
I think it's different.
Got to be on your
it's
mind.
Got to be different.
Did you say that's Kevin Houghton?
Yeah.
It's funny actually because I was in a group with him and he was selling action, so I know that he sold a fair chunk of himself in that tournament.
Well,
so again,
hopefully everyone's done quite well out of that then.
Well, hopefully,
crossed.
yeah. And I would say that he's quite fluid with his backing and stuff like that in the tournaments that he plays. So he sort of gets people on board and he's a good friend with Alex Montgomery, funnily enough, who's on the final table. But I've got a story to tell about Kevin, because you know that obviously in America, most of the Americans pay 30% tax. So Kevin brokered an amazing deal where he won more than about 150% of the first prize in a tournament where they did a deal. And obviously we don't know what happened with the tax or anything, but I'm pretty sure that they did an equal split. But he was down on the Hendon Mob, was winning like a massive amount of money.
Hang on. We're just coming in on Facebook Messenger. I think it's the IRS. Want to have a word? Yeah.
Not sure we want to be outing people.
You don't want to be there.
Well, I'm saying it's quite well known. It's not like everybody knows about it anyway. So
players are back from a break, and what we should do, because we always do this when we hit a final table, there's 7 players left. Chips have moved slightly around from when they started this final table, but Dirk Veal is chip leader, I think, now with 60 bigs. Marcus Miller's got 58 there. Joe from Brazil, 33. Alex Montgomery's got 42. Leonardo's got 13. Michael from the Czech Republic there with 31. And Petrus is the short stack with 10. Who are we picking, guys? Who is going to win this 6 max?
It doesn't look like any of these are female, which would be obviously my default position. I'm just looking there. I don't think there's any. I know you can't necessarily judge that, but it doesn't look like there's any female players.
So you're going to go for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle instead, yeah?
I'm going to go. Can I get, mainly because one of my closest friends is a poker friend from Berlin called Dirk. So can I have Dirk, please?
You can, of course you can have Dirk. That's not a problem. Pete, who are you picking?
I'm definitely going with Alex.
That's fair enough.
I think that's absolutely fair enough. Well, luckily, I've got to go for the artist, formerly known as Leonardo. So he's pretty short, but I'd quite like to see that medal going to Brazil.
Fantastic. Well, I will pick the chip leader going into day 2, which was, I think, was Joe, as I had a good go at his name first time round. So we'll now go for Joe from Brazil. So that works for me. So good luck to everybody. Let's see what happens in this one. Just to say that the fixed limit Hold'em cob is at 55 runners. So it has done that. As I say, I'm still thinking this is going to run for a day 1, guys, looking at the lobby. So I hope that doesn't mean that it's going to be too much of a late one tonight, but that looks like what's been set up, and there's certainly not going to be any way of changing that now if that is the case. The PLO8 knockout is 126 runners in that at the moment. So you've got just over an hour worth of late reg if you do want to get into that. I think that's going to hit that guarantee now, I'm pretty sure. But great comp to get in. It's already lost 30 players in the first hour.
Superb. Couple of updates from the chat box, guys. Tris said we've got John Reese down to 8 big blinds on our table. Billy Johnston is in as well. I'm playing the fixed limit, not just to represent the slugs of our poker world, the slugs from last night. Brilliant. But I knew I'd get past 12 minutes. Well done, Billy. And Simon was going back to the deal. He said you should have tried to get a 19-way chop. You should have gone for it. Should have gone for it. It was doable. Maybe that's what he's suggesting for Kevin Houghton. I suspect it is. Tris is saying knockout in the fixed limit. So definitely somebody's gone. Stefan Fisher is there. Good evening. Evening to you, Stefan. What else have we got? Stefan, when does the structure of all the events of the live WCOAP get released?
Tom will have those out in the next day or 2, I think. I know he's put the post together, and I think he was just going through a few of the details to make sure with Dust Till Dawn that everything was spot on exactly as they'd want it. So
Lee, he's been super busy at the moment. I know this, so they might come out the week after the WCOAP.
Oh, okay, fine. That'll be all right then. That'll be okay. That
They'll be ahead of next season, right? We're going to run with the same
fine.
structures next season. They're early for next season.
It'll be fine. It won't be a problem at all. Talking about chops in Vegas, I am last time I was in Vegas, I chopped a comp at the Win, and it's a weird one. We got down to this final table of 9, and they all of a sudden started talking about a chop, and I thought, well, this is never going to happen. There's never going to get 9. So I sat there quite quiet, thinking, well, this won't happen. This is just not going to. And yeah, they got it through.
I don't remember that.
9 players. Yeah, they chopped at the Win. I ended up picking up. I ended up picking about. I think you may have gone by then. Did you fly home a couple of days before us? Maybe you might have done.
Oh yeah, maybe we did actually.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I ended up with sort of 4th place money, and I was only about, I think about 7th of the 9 chips. I was like, yeah, well, last night at Vegas, yeah, we'll do that. I'm not. I don't really want to be playing for another 3 hours or whatever. I'd already missed dinner, so yeah, I was quite happy to do that. But these things can happen sometimes. It's rare, but it does. It can be done. The poor person doing all the payouts all in one go, she was well hacked off by the end of it. But annoyingly left mine till the end because it was the most paperwork. But,
I'm not a fan of chopping, by the way, and I never pay the bubble. I'm very unpopular in America for various reasons, but those 2 specifically.
You've got to do what you don't have to do, right?
Yeah, I just think, when you enter the tournament that they're the prizes, and that there is a bubble, and it's like, that is the nature of competition. Like, why are we trying to dilute that?
To be honest, I've only ever chopped twice, and it's both times it's been in Vegas, once each trip. That one in the Win, and the other one was at the Golden Nugget. First trip we went out, and we got down to 3, and there was a talk of a chop, and there's a young lad, American lad, with his mates behind him, was adamant he wasn't going to chop, didn't want to chop, and I was quite happy. We've been playing for quite a while, and so it worked out for me. If we were going to do it, that's fine, but he wasn't having any of it. So the very second I bust him, the guy to my left went chop, and I went, yeah, fine. And I ended up doing the guy had won the comp the week before, so he was desperate to be down as first place, so he got back to back winning the same comp.
That's interesting.
So I did a stupid deal with him, and he just went, and he just went, yeah, fine, no, he just wanted to be marked down as first. So
you see, my heart rules my head with things like that, and I'd have ended up saying, no, let's play on because I want to win this. It's terrible.
Oh, no.
I've got such an awful competitive edge. It's terrible.
Simon Lawler's in the chat saying, watched you at the Nugget. Was Paul on the FT2? Yes, Simon, that was the one where it was a 6 max at the Nugget. It was on the back of us obviously both making the 6 max Sky event we talked about, and we're both sat there smugly at our first Vegas trip, and we both final tabled another 6 max.
Wow.
in Vegas, and we're telling the story of why we're out there playing, because on the back of the Sky result, and the guys who were playing with are just going, you're kidding me, and you're both on this 6 max, like, that's just how is that possible? It's like, well, I think luck.
Lee,
really.
Listen, I think Simon Brooks got your number, Lee. He's gone, yeah, all right, Lee, it's not all about you, okay? Me. You've just taken us through your greatest poker stories.
Well,
honest, I think
Simon,
damn good.
Simon, we are due to get you back on the show.
Let's do it
sometime soon. So whenever you want to come back on, and we can just talk about you. It's fine. I mean,
what was that what was that brilliant show he did for Apple? They
the
Mini Beasts,
the mini animals. The little animals.
Fantastic. Love that. The macro
incredible.
photography was just amazing.
Really, really good.
So we've got a couple of shorties on the final table.
Oh God, Pete's still concentrating on the poker.
This is great. This is why we get Pete on, because we can chat about anything we like, and we know Pete's got one eye on the poker table. So if anything happens, he lets us know.
Well, I think it's quite an interesting dynamic, because you've got 3 players all together, and then you've got 2 shorties, and then another guy that's sort of struggling with chips as well. So it's an interesting dynamic, and obviously playing 6 max, playing 7 on this final table, it's going to be an interesting dynamic, as I say. So the shorties really have only got one option. They haven't got a chance to sort of raise fold. They're just going to have to shove, and obviously the bigger stacks are going to put pressure on them.
Just picking up on the mini golf, Tristan's in the chat saying he's happy to rep the show against the Team Gotham as long as we're called the Slugs.
Oh,
I like
Billy's
it.
there. Billy had a chop scenario as well in Vegas. The Aria down to 3, and I'm third of 3. Guy beside me, second in chips, was desperate not to earn 5k as he had to declare to IRS. Japanese guy was a massive chip lead, and he agreed to take 6k or 7k if we took 4.5k each. Well, okay then.
Wow.
So I guess there was a little bit of car park trading going on. Fair enough.
It does go on. That's for sure.
No, it's interesting to hear Natalie's take on that, because I think everybody's different, aren't they? I mean, I chopped a tournament at the Aria, I chopped a tournament at the Venetian and at the Win. All small, not massive amounts of money, but I would only do that on the basis.
Oh,
Did he take him out?
Yeah, Ace 10 versus Ace Queen.
And, my boy's gone. I bopped
Alex
him.
is at a 10 on the river, and Leonardo is no longer in the comp.
Yeah, so going back to what I would do in terms of like chopping, it's really on the basis of whether I get on with the people or not. If I just don't like the players, which occasionally happens, then you get on a table with people that are really annoying and stuff. But I mean, particularly at the Aria, there was a situation where these guys were like, "Oh, let's chop it," and I was chip leader, and I said, "Well, if I take the win, I don't mind." And I obviously we just did a straight split. I don't think I was greedy in terms of taking the extra money. So, but yeah,
I think that's a good point actually. Is that, Pete? And obviously, if we were playing, say, an APAT event, and we had like we were on the table, and like Haycock was on the table as well, and like, do you know what I mean? Let's say that was us 3, for example, then yeah, it'd absolutely split. You know, if it's your good buddies. But I think in a normal, competitive, open tournament where it is,
I don't think.
I don't play bubbles, I don't pay bubbles, and I don't chop. And I think it helps keep you focused long term as well on the strategy of a tournament, because if you're convinced that you're going to chop a tournament, particularly multi-way, you're playing a tournament like a satellite, and it changes the way you're supposed to play, and it changes the dynamic. And I think you can end up getting into quite bad habits if that's your constant mindset. So I'm not saying I would, as a general rule, I don't, with the exception of being like a Friday night competition at MGM Grand, when it's $30 and we've had a few beers, of course I would. But I mean, a serious like festival event, particularly a bracelet event or something like that, I wouldn't. No. For that reason, I just think you've got to, if you're serious about this game and you are disciplined, you've got to tune yourself into how you play a tournament right the way through to an end. And that doesn't involve, it's not a satellite. You're not involving just trying to get top 3 and winner takes all. The top 3 takes.
Did you say when you mentioned you opened up on this subject, you said chopping and tipping. Did you say tipping as well?
No, no, I didn't say tipping.
Did you know?
I tip dealers. Yeah. Do you mean when you get paid?
Yeah.
I tip the dealers. But one thing that I would say to people is that now more than ever, don't default tip the dealers, because there's a lot of tournaments that already take money out of the prize pool to specifically tip dealers on top of their salary. So you just need to be savvy in terms of where your money's going. But yeah, I do most of the time.
So here's a question for you. So say you won, let's say Kevin wins the million. Yeah, $1 million.
It's looking less likely now, Lee. He's lost a few million.
Yeah, okay. But let's just say, so say you win $1 million. How much of the $1 million are you tipping in that comp?
I don't expect him to have to tip a lot. I think.
No, but how much would you say it was you? Well, how much would you tip of your $1 million?
Oh, it's a bit personal, that, Lee, isn't it? You can't.
No, I don't mind answering it.
No, it's just a percentage. No, what
10 to 15k, I think.
What do people consider? Yeah, what do people consider a reasonable amount? So 10 to 15k is what 1.5%.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, I don't think it's appropriate to be tipping 10, 15, 20%. I think it's Dara actually has a really great. He did it on one of his.
Billy's just in the chat saying 2%. So yeah,
2%. Yeah, anything like that. Yeah,
anything to.
Interestingly, and we do this a lot when players are pledging winnings for. I've had this a lot with people wanting to pledge winnings to Hearts of Queens and things like that. They'll say between 1% and 10%. The experienced players will say, I'm pledging anything between 1% and 10%. Obviously, the idea being that if it's a min cash and it's a modest amount of money, they'll give 10% if it's not life-changing money. But this money up here has been earned. It's life-changing money. I don't think it's appropriate to expect Kevin Houghton. I say Houghton, actually. I don't know how you guys pronounce it, Northern. But it's I don't think 10, 15, 20% is appropriate from $1 million. I think 1%. No. Yeah, I think 1%. I think anything above, if I won 5K, I would expect to tip. Yeah, no, in fact, anything from 5K upwards, I'd say probably more like.
John Sibley says on $1 million, he'd be tipping 5K. Simon Lawler says at the World Series of Poker, he'd be tipping 0, nothing at all.
Is that a slant on the standard of dealing?
Well, it might be that it might be that it's coming out of the prize pool. I mean,
well, this is a point I just made. Yeah, you do before you tip anything, do ask for a specific confirmation as to how much of the buy-in and the prize pool has been allocated to.
Because I mean, look, effectively, it's players' money, right? It's players' money, and you know, it's important that people like the World Series of Poker pay their staff appropriately. A tip then should be seen as a proper bonus, not the you know, it's not there to bridge the gap between a decent salary and a pretty poor effort from the organizer. You know, because
I'll tell you a great story that happened first time APAT ran an event out in Austria. I don't know whether you know of this, Des, but they early payouts in that event were kind of odd numbers, and basically, but I remember getting paid out. I think I finished about, I don't know, 15th or something like in that comp. So I maybe won about 300 and something euros or something like that, maybe. About that, maybe 350 euros. And I got paid out in these big racks full of chips with a couple of loose chips on top. Yeah. And it was like,
I bet they were the valuable ones.
So wander over to the cash desk to cash these in. And so, would you like to leave a tip? Yeah, I'll leave a tip. So what do you naturally just do?
Yeah, the top.
Oh, well, I'll just, which I wasn't the only one that did it. Lots of people.
Were they 25 euro chips? Or
lots of people did it. Yeah. And basically, well, great, fine. You took your money, didn't even think about it. You know, great, brilliant. I've cashed, wonderful. Yeah, very, very, very naughty. Yeah,
yeah. That stinks of deliberateness, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Why would you? And it literally was 2 racks of what was effectively €1, you know, denominations, or €2 denominations. Yeah, and they would say they did it to a lot of people. Well, not fell for it, just you just made that mistake. You're on a high of you cashed and all great and lovely, and go and get your money and
Wow.
Yeah, I remember the first big tournament I ever won. Simon Trumper brokered the deal for me, and we were 4-handed, and I ended up winning like first prize. And I said to Simon Trumper, because obviously he's quite an experienced TD and presenter, I said to him, "What's the norm to tip?" And he said 2%, which is what I tipped on that.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
So
well, funnily enough, that was exactly the same question I had with Simon, because he walked up to me after the Sky event, and I said, genuinely, Simon, I would appreciate your advice. And he said exactly the same thing as he said to you, Pete.
Yeah.
He said 2% is considered reasonable. Interestingly, talked to a lot of Dusk Till Dawn dealers after the event who actually came and said thank you.
Yeah.
Which was, and a couple even made the comment, you'd be amazed how many of the pro players
don't leave anything.
Don't leave a penny.
It's surprising.
Don't leave a penny.
I've done deals with people before at Dusk Till Dawn, and we've agreed to sort of chop money and stuff like that, and said I'll chop it on the basis that you leave X amount for the dealers. And I've seen people walk away and not even leave any money, and I just think that's despicable. Yeah. If you've agreed to something, poker is a game of gentlemen, in my opinion. And if you sort of renege on a deal like that, what else will you renege on?
Fantastic.
Why are you
Listen,
laughing?
I'm laughing. No, I'm laughing.
So-
I'm laughing at the chat. The chat's going bonkers. Oh, that's what I'm laughing at.
Oh, wow.
So I'm laughing at the same time. So Simon Brook, bless his cotton socks. Jesus, when did the show turn into a dick measuring contest? When is Des going to tell us all about the time he won a game of Snap? Oh dear. Well, listen, joking aside, Adam Neal comes up with an alternative view and a really interesting one. Would likely tip the final dealer of the table for a huge World Series of Poker event. Lots of underestimated pressure on the lights, on dealers, on those feature games, playing for unreal amounts of money. Would prefer to give one person a chunk rather than an amount broken out to various.
I like that.
I like
What do you
that.
guys
I
make
like
of
that
that?
a lot. Yeah, I like that a lot.
But
Well, I think I would
hold on,
probably
that
do
means,
it.
but that means 99 out of 100 dealers aren't getting anything in that scenario.
I think what might be a good compromise for that is to, if you were going to tip 2%, sorry, maybe do 1.5% across all of them and 0.5% specifically to the final table deal, because that would be a not insignificant sum to give to one dealer if you're having millions, for example.
And as a player, and I actually like that idea because that will make a pretty significant difference to a smaller number of dealers. Do we trust the card rooms? I mean, if we say, yeah, I'm going to drop $2,000 or whatever, do we sort of trust that money goes to exactly the right place? I mean,
No.
for example, if you give something as specific as I'd like 500 to go to the final table dealer and 1,500 to go among the rest.
I think you'd have to do it direct, wouldn't you? I think you'd probably just take the cash and hand it. I think what you do is...
I'm not sure whether they're allowed to take direct. That's the problem. Is I'm not.
Oh, really?
I'd imagine in their contract there's a thing
They
about
have to split.
Yeah.
So even on cash tables, when they get tips, does that go into a pot?
I'm not sure. Simon Lawler says conversely he'd always tip at dusk till dawn. So I mean, Simon might well know what dusk till dawn do. Whether I presume they pool. I think they pool all their tips for everybody, including the kind of the cash desk and the kind of admin behind the scenes guys as well. I think they all get a share.
We know Dusk Till Dawn is run by poker people, so I'd be trusting there.
Yeah,
I'm talking about
I'd
more
trust
generally.
DTD. Yeah.
Billy says it's the walk now to the cash desk by a dealer who flashes flashes the cack out of you after you've already signed off 2%. Hustle. So you're going to get flattered if there's a little more payback to be had. And Adam goes on to say, yeah, quite possibly right contract to split. So, yeah, I mean, if it comes down to, you needing to somehow spend a lot of time figuring the whole thing out, almost becomes anti being able to do it easily.
But worth it, though. It's a small amount of your time to make a big difference to somebody else. That's a
true.
very worthy answer. I understand that, but I tend to think along that lines. I think, well, I know.
Yeah,
I will make the effort if it's important.
But it's Sunday night, right? You're tired. It's been a long 3 or 4 days. You want to jump back in your car and get home. I mean, do you really? How do you sort it? It could be that this is a huge gap in the market, really, that actually there needs to be something solid.
Could the role of the TD help with that if they've just finished off, as if it's the last competition, they're signing off as well? And I don't know. I just think it's worth it. I think we lose focus sometimes of the really privileged position that we're in the poker world, in the fact that we can afford the money to enjoy this game as a recreational sport, but also as a return from playing that, we can find ourselves like Kev Horton playing for millions of dollars. And I just think, if you can, without, sounding too worthy, as I said before, if you can just add on another, you wouldn't bother playing for another half an hour if a final table deal couldn't be done. So do you really have to not stand for another half an hour working out a tip for somebody?
Yeah, no,
you'd do it if it was for your own benefit.
Well, certainly one thing that isn't in question is the importance of the dealers, and I suspect it's also not in question that the dealers don't necessarily get rewarded as they might do. So it's certainly, the topic is important for sure. I guess what we're talking around is the admin of the whole thing. John Sibley says DTD pool their tips and they get a percentage. Each dealer gets a certain percentage. Bar staff get a different percentage. Waitresses, etc., glass collectors, etc. He says, "Oh yeah, so they've got to ring up and agree with backer. Could get awkward if disagreeing on amount." So I think is he talking about?
Okay, yeah, I've heard. Yeah.
There,
So
maybe?
if you staked and you, yeah, I get that.
Backed. Yeah, that's tricky.
Yeah, but is it that?
Oh, sorry, that was Adam.
Yeah.
That was Adam Neal. My screen jumped there. So John was talking about D2D pooling their tips and awarding them based on the rolls. Adam was talking about if a player is staked, then that adds some complexity, right? Because the staker owns a certain amount of that cash.
It does, but agree that before you go.
Yeah.
Agree that with your staker before you go. So, like, what's the deal on tipping? Because
Yeah.
I'm going to tip. Does it come out of? Does the whole amount come out of my percentage? So, if I want to tip 2%, it's 2% of the whole amount, but it comes directly out of my pocket, and you're not affected. Are you prepared to tip as well? You know, on the basis that I'm putting the effort and you've put the money up, but I've obviously done the work. So, will you? You just agree before you go. These things, it's just organised. I know poker players aren't the most organised, but it's just
if I can just jump in there, because Simon Brooks in the chat saying, Lee, you've not talked about yourself for a little while. So if we just take this back to the Sky event that I won, I don't know whether I mentioned this before. I'd actually swapped 10% with Paul in that particular one, and when it came to doing the tipping, I didn't even think about, well, that was a separate thing altogether. So it was what I was tipping was out of whatever mine was.
Yeah.
Didn't really matter. Although I did do it as a percentage of the overall win.
Yeah.
So probably that was a little bit, daft with hindsight. I should have turned around and said, well, actually, I've only got 90% of that, so I'll do 10% of that, 2% of that. But yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
With hindsight.
Very, very good.
Listen, anyway, I'll jump back into chat more about me in about another 10 minutes.
I think so. 2 points of admin, guys. So Stefan says, about Dusk Till Dawn, I see on the site they're closed on Monday and Tuesday. I come to Nottingham on Tuesdays. Are they open next week all days of the week, or just when the WCOAP?
No, they won't be open till Wednesday. So they will be closed on Monday and Tuesday. But there is some really good mini golf in Nottingham on a Tuesday. Stefan, if you want to get a few rounds of mini golf in, we can highly recommend a few of those courses to give them a go. Don't go, getting hustled by Team Gotham if they're up there early. That's all.
I think Stefan does have a plan for Tuesday, because he goes on to ask, and where can I find the best fish and chips in Nottingham? Any recommendations?
Further north.
I have a funny feeling if we count down 30 seconds, Simon Lawler is about to post.
Fair enough.
Well, there's two places actually. There's George's famous fish and chips and the cod scallops. So there you go.
Fantastic.
You Southerners do not know how to do good fish and chips. If
They're
you want
good
good fish and chips, drive north.
Nottingham's the Midlands.
Midlands.
I lived in Derby for 7 years, so the cod scallops and George's famous fish and chips.
I will, as much as I hate them, and I don't want to reopen the War of the Roses, because it's been gone for a long time. But in my opinion, anywhere outside of Lancashire, Yorkshire does terrible fish and chips. So just come on.
Wow.
Yeah, Wakefield, Kingfisher.
Yeah, Yorkshire do decent ones.
The South Coast has some incredible fish and chip areas. Oh, goodness me.
There was a place on, I think it was called the Lad.
Oh, I see what he's done there. There was a place. You see what he's done there? Honestly, too good.
I genuinely didn't do that, but thank you for giving me the credit. Wow. I think it was on Ladbroke Grove, and it was a fish and chip shop. It was quite expensive, but it just had the most magnificent fish and chips ever. And I don't eat fish, so you can imagine how good that had to make the chips. It's just insane. Simon is back. Your one and only true fan is back, Lee, and he says, "Do you know Paul Haycock, Lee? You never mention him."
No.
You're getting it. You're getting the rub down tonight. To be honest, we deserve a bit of a rub down, right? We've had a free ride for about 2.5 years doing this. It's all coming tonight.
It's all good.
Do you often find as well, particularly, I guess this is particularly for you, Des, that the chippies around football grounds tend to be amazing? Football ground chippies are really good. And if any APATers out there who aren't serial killers and are going to bury me under their patio, find their football teams at Turf Moor at any time in the next couple of years, drop me a line, because I will take you to Turf Moor Chippy, which is the greatest chip shop in the land.
Fantastic. Well, listen, there's a Chinese. Actually, it's called Mrs. Fong's. It's right opposite. It's right behind the Cop, right? So it's that close to Anfield. It's literally right opposite the street. just does the most amazing fish and chips and
I
sausage and
can't.
chips and stuff
No,
like that.
Chinese.
Oh,
No, it's got to be a proper.
Trust me, it's a fish and chip shop. They just do a couple
Okay.
of extra things, but it is a proper fish and chip shop because you're not going to get away. I mean, they're not all coming out of the cop for Chinese. But
I should point out,
superb.
folks, for Des, when are you paying out on the overs on 70 minutes?
Yeah,
'Cause,
yeah.
The
failed.
line has been
badly,
crossed miserably by
Failed. Failed badly.
I love how
Lee.
none of us entertained the idea. We were just like, no.
I think we might get to heads up in the fixed limit before we get to heads up here. It's been very disappointing. They've let me down badly. Listen, Billy Johnson is trying to tell a story here. He says, sadly, and it's been a story told to me, so therefore not my direct experience, was a scenario, here we go, where dealer tip box under table was lifted and mixed into the rake box lifted separately. I sincerely hope that story is false, but hateful if true. So that sounds like a venue taking the tips and just adding it to the P&L for the week. Venue unmentioned, but that would be pretty poor. Simon is saying for Stefan Grosvenor, they're going to run a comp probably on Tuesday. So if you want to play Grosvenor in Nottingham, they will be running a comp on Tuesday.
The similar tip in terms of public service announcements, do check as well, and I think this is becoming more and more common in the UK, when you're tipping at restaurants but you're paying by card, do check that the tip is taken off and given to the staff, because I always ask, and I'd say probably a good 25 to 30% of restaurants will say, no, it's not. Or the waitress will say, or they'll say to us, you say, like, can I add a tip? And they'll say, don't, because we won't get it. And the restaurant just take it as you've just paid extra for your food. They don't give tips out on card. So do watch that as well, guys.
Wow. Listen, a couple of fishy stories coming in, as you'd expect, given the topic. John says, I live 3 miles from the coast in North Norfolk, and all our chippies buy their fish frozen from Whitby. Very unhappy faces there. That seems like a missed opportunity locally. And one John Murray says, Pete's right. The Midlands is well known for its sea fishing. Just keep getting those rubs in, guys. Come on.
In poker news, we're up to 59 runners in the fixed limit hold'em now, and we've actually lost 2 players. First player to exit is Welsh skipper John Reith. He is he has bust. Yeah. Closely followed by Sven Ekberg from Sweden. John Sibley is down at the bottom of that leaderboard as well, and only just 1 place above John Sibley is Dan Austin. So it's it's not going well at the moment, and we're now just 7 runners off the PLO8 knockout hitting its guarantee as well. So that's getting close. Still 5 left in this 6 max that we're watching, as Marcus is all in on this particular one and gets that through.
I think that conclusively goes to prove, Lee, that we can balk players even if they're not directly involved in the show, even if they're just listening in. We can still balk them. Yeah,
it's actually if you look at the bottom of this this fixed limit hold'em, as I say, Dan Austin's down there, John Sibley's down there, John Murray is 49th of the 58 remaining. So a lot of the those variant players finding this a struggle tonight. But you've still got, it's late reg until level 12. So you've still got another half an hour or so. Actually, probably 45 minutes it'll be actually by the time you add the break and everything else in there. So yeah, about 45 minutes of late reg if you do want to get involved in either of the events that started tonight. That's event number 4 and event number 5. As I say, just be aware that I'm pretty sure this fixed limit hold'em is going to be a 1-day event, because I don't see anything in the lobby that's saying when day 2 would resume, unlike the PLO, which definitely does play until level 21, the PLO8 tonight, which is going to be about 12:15. That will be tonight.
I'm pretty sure I saw John Sibley post earlier on in the thread that the fixed limit was going to finish at around 1 a.m. So it is definitely going to play out as a 1-dayer. I don't know about the 1 a.m. John had mentioned that. Meanwhile, elsewhere on Kev Houghton Watch, Kevin Houghton moved all in for 4 million from the cutoff and was called by Dominic Brazier in the big blind. Dominic Brazier turns over Ace King. Kevin Houghton turns over Ace Queen. Do I need to go through the rest? Probably not, but unfortunately we lose Kevin Houghton in 18th place for 43k.
Oh, what a
So
lovely
Disappointed for him.
So the how
Disappointed
much
for
of
him
the
in the end.
million he was going to tip is not even a debate. We can so scrap the last 25 minutes of the show.
He
because it doesn't
saved on the
matter anymore.
tip.
Yeah.
He saved on the tip, if
Doesn't
nothing
matter
else.
anymore.
That's unfortunate.
That's a great cash though. That's a
Yeah,
ridiculously good run. You've got to be pleased with that.
He's
It's
got quite a
ridiculously
good success rate out in Vegas, definitely. So
too right.
his game's obviously suited to that.
Superb result. I mean, 43k is a magnificent start. I don't know how long he's out there for, but you know, that buys some more tournaments, certainly buys some nice shows and stuff like that. If he's out there with some friends, good news for all of them.
I must admit, on the show front, Des, I'm a bit disappointed. I was having a look the other day, seeing what was out in Vegas at the moment, and it's a bit nothing
thin,
much new
really?
out there.
Oh,
Yeah, I didn't see anything too much that that kind of caught my attention. I'd be interested to know what anybody else either is going or has looked maybe or is thinking about going.
I want to see Gaga for sure, but I think she's on a break while we're there. I wanted to see Brittany, but I haven't seen that either.
I've got tickets for Adele. Yeah, it's
Have you?
Cancelled, isn't it? Isn't
No,
Adele
mate, still got no.
Oh,
don't
she
say it's
cancelled
cancelled.
it. No, she postponed it.
I bought them
Postponed it.
online for $500 a piece. What do you mean it's cancelled?
It's not cancelled. It's postponed. She's postponed.
Why?
I really got tickets for Adele. She
Oh,
lives just down the
you're
road.
such a
I can't
wine.
be going to Vegas to see her.
Tristan in the chat saying you even managed to box someone in Vegas for fuck's sake. Simon Lawler says classic transatlantic bock.
Get in.
We are good. We are
So
good.
listen,
We
I'm
really
going
are
to test this theory. Because I just, at the very next hand, right? Vito Di Stefano raises to 800k from under the gun. And Nick Marchington, right, fellow Brit, raised to 2 million on the button. Di Stefano called. The flop came Ace 9-8 Rainbow, and Marchington bet 1.25 million when checked to. Di Stefano called. The King of Spades was the turn, an action check through. The river was the 10 of clubs, and Marchington bet 2.4 million when checked to. Di Stefano moved all in for 8.75 million, effectively covering Marchington. What are you going to do, guys? I suppose it depends on your cards, right? Marchington made the call. Di Stefano showed ace queen for top pair, while Marchington turned over ace 10 for two pair. Thank you very much. He's up to 20 million in chips.
Very nice indeed. And just to answer Stefan's question, will Dusk Till Dawn be broadcasting the Formula One on weekend after next? I would imagine so. I'd be very surprised if they didn't.
Has he made another fish joke there, Lee?
Where's that?
He talks about Lewis Cray, baby.
Oh, right. Without even realising it. Yeah.
Detail. We're all in. We're all in on it. Come on. How many more fish jokes can we get into the evening?
Yeah.
Alex just won a big pot.
Yeah. Pete is zero interested in this chat.
No, it's not true. I'm just saying.
You've got to be codding, Pete.
He moved all in, and he's against the chip leader, and he's now got a stack which is very similar. So he's second in chips now. Awesome,
doing very nicely.
Yeah, it's not looking good for Joe. Short stack of the five remaining. And as I mentioned earlier on, so far the top two players chip stack wise going into the day two of the event so far, the first two we've had have both medalled each time. But it might be Joe breaks that stat.
Going back to Vegas shows, Des, one thing I hope to do this year, if they still do it, I can't remember if it was up there last time you were there with us. Do you remember the jump off the stratosphere tower?
Yes.
I'm going to do that this year.
Superb. Well, I saw Karen Mead, and I want to say Suzanne Gleason, I might be wrong there, are out there at the moment, and they posted a picture from the top of the stratosphere yesterday, the day before, and I think somebody asked, are you going to do the jump? I don't think they were up for it.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to definitely.
I remember Stu did it, right? Stu did it going back.
Is it a bungee effectively jump, or is it?
No, it's like an assisted
drop.
Assisted drop, yeah. So you literally you step off the side of the stratosphere, and you've got harnesses but you're essentially free falling. But then when you get to the bottom, it just like gets you down slowly.
Oh no,
it looks amazing.
Don't like the sound of that.
Yeah, I'd say I'm going to do it. I'll get up there and I'll literally.
Yeah, it's pretty unnerving when you're eating in the restaurant, though.
Ah!
You're sitting there eating your food, and suddenly just someone jumps out past your window.
It does. It looks awesome, and I think they've done it really well because you do genuinely, rather than a bungee, you do genuinely feel like you're just stepping off the top of the stratosphere and just
fantastic.
Looks
and
amazing.
The real bonus there is, of course, your trousers dry out really quickly in the Vegas heat.
True.
Well, what's the kind of most adrenaline rush thing each of you has ever done? Would you say? Has anyone done skydiving, bungee jumping?
I'd love to do skydiving, but I'm scared of flying, so that's a real problem for me. Because I'll jump out the plane, but I won't get up on the plane in the first. I'm really scared of flying, so that's a no-no. But I would love to do it.
I think probably the most exhilarating thing I've ever done was a track day at Brands Hatch.
Okay, wow.
You drive like a Formula 3 car, and so you drive it the way you think you should drive it, and then they then show you how fast you can go and how fast you can go around the corners.
Wow.
And obviously, they don't do it that way. Well, they don't do it the other way around, because I'm sure there'll be a lot more accidents.
Yeah.
I've done quite a lot of scary things, like crazy things skiing, like gone on runs I should never have gone on, and like off piste and on a snowboard as well, trying to do jumps as well. So I've done bits where I've literally nearly gone off the side of a mountain. But I feel like I'd say that's probably the most extreme thing that I've done is stupid skiing things.
One of the charities that I work with is they've got some guys doing wing walking next month.
Oh, nice! I'd like to do that.
And would you?
Flying though again.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether I'm not really kind of a junkie for that kind of that adrenaline rush. But Des is shaking his head no, you wouldn't get me anywhere near anything like that. No.
Well, I've seen people do wing walking, and remarkably, they always look super calm. I mean, I'm assuming I'm watching pros and stuff doing it, but they always look super calm. It always looks super under control, and control is one of the most important things when it comes to doing adrenaline junkie type things. I think the scariest thing that I remember doing, because I'm not into scary things, it just seems so stupid to me, but the scariest thing that I remember doing was, as a pretty young kid, I'm going to say 9 or 10, like coming out of school at lunchtime, right, for the 1 hour lunchtime break. And there was a crazy mechanic that used to work in town called FLHE, right? Nobody knows if he had a first name. He was just FLHE. And at that time, he had a 20-year-old Escort, which he'd sort of done up as a bit of a rally car. And in the sort of 60-minute break between the first half of school and the second half of school, 2 or 3 of us would jump into the back of this car, and he would take us for a drive about 6 miles out of town at insane speeds in a car that had no seatbelts, no safety whatsoever. It had a bit of sort of paint on the side that made it look like a rally car, and ferociously, all you could smell was the petrol coming from the back.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah. And it was what you would term exhilarating. Of course, you were with a few of your mates, so you had to do it.
Yeah.
You were in on it, you know. That was probably about as close to the line as I think I've ever gone.
Why is it that you don't like? Is it just the self-preservation point? Like,
yeah, it was a little self-preservation. I genuinely felt that I am putting my life, and I wasn't thinking like this. It was more of a natural reaction, but I was sort of thinking, I am putting my life in the hands of the arsehole sat in front of me.
Please put up Tom Bacon's comment.
Oh God, this could literally be anything. Oh my God, I'm so glad you said that, because that's what I thought he said. If you play back this video, you see he said that. My face goes.
You people, what? I was 7 or 8. I'm 9 at the most. What do you think I'm capable of?
I am on team.
I mean, now.
I thought that's what you meant.
Bloody hell.
Too good.
Did you miss the bit about coming out of school from a lunch break? What you people?
No, but it was the guy who had the 20-year-old escort. So we were like, okay, where's this going?
Oh, hold on. That's right. The guy, the crazy mechanic and his 20-year-old escort and the 4 kids that would travel 6 months. Oh, I get it now. Yeah. I see where you're going. Do I look that damaged?
In my mind, I'm just thinking that wouldn't happen these days.
No, I'm with you 100%, Tom. That's exactly where my mind went.
Paul says that you three were the only ones not thinking that, to be honest.
It's true. Every single one of us, the rest of us were all
every time.
Yeah, where's this going? I was almost like, I'm not sure we should be broadcasting this.
Every time.
Oh dear, too funny.
I love it.
Too funny. This fixed limit hold'em is up to 63 runners now, which means is well over $3,000 in the prize pool here, and we are just 3 away from hitting the guarantee in the PLO8 knockout as well. And you've got about another half an hour or so of late reg in that, so I think that's going to comfortably do that as well.
Oh,
John, going back to the 6 max. Alex has taken a dominant chip lead.
Yeah, he has, hasn't he?
He put a substantial. Well, the flop came down ace 3-3, and Joe bet out. He flatted him. A king came on the turn, so anyone who's got an ace, you're not folding the hand there. And Alex put pressure on him, just put him all in basically, and he folded. So that was a really good move, which took him up to 13 million.
Joe's all in. Needs the ace king to hold here. And it does, which means it's a double up for Joe through Marcus. Only puts him up to about 13 bigs, but he really was in serious spot there.
Des always ahead of his time.
Lolly Johnston.
Oh dear.
That is funny. That is quite
Very
funny.
funny.
I'm going to have to play that back to Sian later. She won't believe that one.
She'll be, Des, I can't believe you said that. Yeah.
She will probably say, Des, I do believe you said that. That did not enter my head at all, I have to say. So John is saying he's got his 20K in the fixed limit, right? Up to 140K. In 4 hands, it's now Mr. Murray's time. So John,
and then just look down to the very latest comment.
Went back to ACK.
Yeah, and he's back to 80K again now. So, well, I guess with this fixed limit hold'em, Pete, I know we're concentrating on the 6 max as well, but just talking about that, although it's fixed limit, it's surprising how quickly the pots can get big, and you can build a stack and lose a stack quite quickly. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're indisciplined and you sort of do just keep calling all the way down, you can lose a substantial amount. One thing I learned the other day, which I was totally unaware of, was that when you are heads up, you can actually, normally you can only raise 2 or 3 times, but when you're actually heads up, you can just keep raising and keep raising till you're all in. So that's an interesting thing that I didn't even know.
Why don't they just make heads up no limit then on that basis? That seems like an unnecessary waste of time.
It is. It's just a slow way of getting your chips all in. You might as well just make it.
I'm all about the efficiency. One of my bugbears in world.
Did you notice that when Pete said, "Oh, I only found out the other day when you're heads up, thin brag, the thinnest of brags you're ever going to get."
Come second against some crazy German guy that didn't fold,
as opposed to a crazy Englishman who doesn't fold.
Crazy Lancashire woman.
Fair.
The wrong side of the Pennines.
Get in the bin. Get in the bin with your War of the Roses rubbish.
We've never actually had a fight on screen, have we, Lee? Have we had a guest fight before?
Oh, you got the right guests for this, because me and Pete could argue about anything.
If you look at the top 10 in the fixed limit hold'em at the moment, Tom Bacon is second in chips. Rob Holworth is 6th. Billy Johnson is 7th. Eddie Nyaxu is 8th. Tristan Chaplin is 9th. There's a hell of a lot of regular APATers that are flying high at the moment in this fixed limit hold'em. We're starting to lose players in that now. We're down to 55 with 64 runners. So we are starting to see players drop out of that. So, yeah, I think it'll head along nicely. Ace King versus Ace Queen, and they both hit the flop.
Hello.
And unfortunately, we are going to lose Joe, the first day 2 chip leader not to pick up a medal of the series. That stat is now in the bin. I can't. That's done. Oh well, I have to find something else that's trending for tomorrow. Unfortunately, yeah, my pick Joe departs. So we're down to 4 now. We're on the medal bubble for this 6 max. Should just confirm money wise where we're at. The guys now are all going. We're up to four figures now. So the 4th place money is $1,375. Then it goes just over $2,000, then just shy of $3,000, and a little bit more than 4,000 up top. So you're pretty much looking at sort of 1,000-ish pay jumps now, right the way up. So
nice flop.
Nice flop if you got a king.
That's what you call a deep south flop. That going back
certainly is, yeah. But certainly Marcus and Alex not giving this up. I guess if you're holding 2 pair or even ace queen or something like that, you might think you're in a
I thought
good
Alex
spot
would
here.
make a play for this.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be a chop pot in my opinion.
Oh, there you go. That's got to be chopped, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you see from the hands there, that was interesting because Alex has obviously made a play there and put pressure on the guy.
Yeah, with 9, what do you have? 9-6 offsuit, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty horrendous, but he's obviously trying to get, it's blind on blind, so he could quite easily get the guy to fold. I've got quite, oops, there's a pussy. Right. Yeah, I've got quite an interesting table in the PLO8. I've got Joe Gaynard and Tristan on my table now.
Oh wow, okay.
So but I'm struggling at the moment. I've only got half my starting stack. I could have gone bust about 4 times, but I've just not really had any rub of the green. Certainly haven't had the opportunity to take any bounties. So I'm just I'm on survival mode at the moment, looking for a big hand.
Billy Johnston is saying, "Go Slugs." I think Billy's right. I think, yeah.
Well, you certainly get your value for money out of the fixed limit game, that's for sure.
Well, Tristan's
get to press a lot of buttons.
Gun.
Yeah, you get to click a lot of buttons, don't you? So it's good from that point of view.
Yeah, Tristan's raised under the gun on my table. Another guy's flat called Mark Glassman. Do we know him?
Yeah, of course.
Marcus, no Mark. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Michael Riley's called, so it's gone, and Sebastian Posh. So you got a full way to the flop, which is Queen 10-3, 2 hearts. Tristan's led out, fold, and he takes the pot down. What a meister!
Triplin doing the business.
Yeah.
Brian Frews joined us in the chat box. Good evening to you, Brian. Run good, Billy, he says. The Irish lads sticking together.
And Joe Gaynard's in the chat as well, who's on your table, Pete. So careful what you say. He's obviously fishing around for any info we can get.
Well, he's just raised on the button now. So on Tristan's big blind, we'll see what the reaction is.
Are you playing something, Natalie?
Yeah.
It's just your facial expression was like that didn't go, something didn't go according to plan. Yeah.
Idiot on my table.
I see Ben Sweetman is back in the PLO8 knockout. Played the last couple of days as well. Currently 11th in chips. I mentioned about the Ukrainian players. They've currently got 4 of the top 10 chip stacks in the PLO8
wow,
at the moment.
That's pretty good, right?
And two others are Kazakhstan players as well. So
I think
they do love their PLO8. That's for sure.
Yeah, I would say there's a reason for that as well, Lee, because they do tend to play quite aggressively. I mean, in my experience, pot limit isn't about raising pre-flop, but they certainly love to. They like to get it in. I guess in a bounty, there's a different strategy, but they're always trying to sort of like play for stacks, which is obviously quite difficult in pot limit. But they'd be happy to get it in pre-flop most of the time, and obviously that's probably the reason they've got big stacks.
Dan Weaver also going well early on in that PLO8 as well.
All right.
Regular player.
He was on my team actually, and we used to obviously with Eddie as well, and Marion.
The squads team, the
squads team, and we had quite a few discussions, and his PLO, to be fair, his PLO game's pretty good. But hopefully I gave him a little bit of advice on that. And as I say, Eddie definitely improved his game in the PLO and PLO8 as well. So the squads really, really help people, I think.
Yeah, it was great. I was so sad to see that go. I thought that was
I love that.
Really successful.
We might get to bring it back at some point, somewhere down the line. I think the concept works really, really well, and it's a good way of bringing people together. I think that was probably the most important thing I took out of it. Was it brought people together, certainly during a time where it was beneficial, and say you got a chance to make friends and chat to people outside of the poker games, and look at each other's games. I think it worked really well from that point of view.
Yeah, I mean, I personally made I knew John Late already. He was originally in the team, but I didn't know Eddie, I didn't know Marion, and I certainly didn't know Daniel Weaver, and so I got to meet them, and we became really, really good friends. Shared information, and all said when we get a chance to meet up live, we will do. And I met Daniel and Eddie up at the team championships.
Ah, brilliant!
So yeah, and I know Marion's actually had a kid. So him and his Italian girlfriend, probably priorities have changed somewhat.
Oh, that's great.
As is the way. Yeah, is the way.
Marion was fantastic.
But yeah, it's an awesome. That was, as I say, through lockdown, and the squads and loads of other things. It's definitely been a positive for me being involved in APAT and playing those. Really enjoyed it.
That is nice to hear. Well, you'll know, of course, that. A lot of you have been following the APAT show, through the lockdown period. Lee and I were involved in a lot of poker streaming during that time. Natalie was super, super involved in one of our projects. And here's a 60-second little clip to remember some of that stuff. Right, players on a break now. So they're back in 4 minutes. This will take us 1 minute. So memories in this, Lee.
I'm not going to have a ton of bluffs, so I definitely need to size down. When you have very little bluffs, you want to size down because you can fit in all of your bluffs with your value range comfortably without a big bet size.
I had been banding about in my mind over creating a really long form vlog for this World Series.
We have a Bundesliga professional footballer in there. I'm not going to say any more, but he plays in the Bundesliga.
I mean, the last tournament I played was the £1 million buy-in that in London. And,
it's about looking at the data and the stats.
Okay, so there's a guy who aspires to be a fighter pilot, right? But he has this one issue. His thumb is stuck pointing straight up.
Influencers are doing the exact same with the exception of exactly the bloggers. And look at what they've managed to accomplish.
There we go.
Wow.
We had a lot of fun with that stuff over the last 2
I
years.
I do love your face when
It's fantastic.
Rob
Fantastic.
drops the bomb of and the last tournament I played was £1 million buy-in, and you're just like
That's fantastic. Absolutely brilliant.
Crazy times. I loved that. I loved the Orbit Extra project that we did. It was only for a very short time, but
the few that we did were outstanding.
They were great, and it was just something a little bit different. And actually, I think I know you guys had wanted to do it for ages, and it's something that I'd been looking at with other projects. It was almost one of those where one of them had to come first. So you had to just get out there and do it, and then see what worked, see what didn't work, see what lessons you'd learn from it. But I think for me, it opened up the opportunity to do something like that again, but maybe in a different format. But it was a lot of fun. And I got to interview some crazy people who
you did.
Who did you have on the Orbit Extra? That was
so I had Cara Scott was my first one because that was International Women's Day.
Yep.
Then I had Negreanu and FLHE. FLHE, that's it. James Dempsey.
James Dempsey, yeah.
And then I had Rob Young and Sam Razavi. Right? Yeah. So yeah, just some 5 of the most ridiculous names in poker, fantastic. And it was
But you also had a
crazy.
ton. You had a ton of people in the chat box talking about the shows and the content and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was really great.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, it was. I didn't have to do anything. It was obviously it was the Orbit. It was the Orbit's baby, and it was because of the quality of the shows, of the main Orbit shows, that we were able to do that. So I was just able to piggyback off successful shows, but I did like the idea. And maybe I think this is what we maybe didn't do as much as we would have wanted to. The idea that we would do a live watch of the show and then the sister show would come straight after it. It never really worked that way. We never really got the platform that we needed. But I think that to me remains the takeaway from that I would still like to try and use. But yeah, it was an incredible opportunity, and it was, and it's introduced me to a lot more people in the poker profession that I would never have had an opportunity to be able to speak to.
I still maintain if the topic was emotive enough, and there are a couple of them out there at the moment that are pretty emotive, you could pre-record an orbit and then you could do a live question and answer directly afterwards. I still believe that could.
And I think that's what we wanted to do. Yeah, we just didn't quite execute it the way we wanted to. But I still think that's the format, and I think that format's a winning format. If you can just get it, you do. Really
I still have to pinch myself when producing those orbits that you'd sit down one evening, and all of a sudden you've got the Zoom room set up, and all of a sudden people start popping up in there, and it's Daniel Negreanu, and you're in Daniel Negreanu's apartment or whatever, and you're like, what is going on here, or was it?
Well, think how I felt with that. I mean, I was like not used to that at all, and I was sat in, and I was so. I mean, you guys know, doing the orbit extra, I was super, super nervous. It was something I'd never done before in terms of content. And you two were just like, Natalie, you're just going to do this, and we've signed you up for this, and you're interviewing this person next, and I'd be like, what? And you'd be I was sat in the dungeon, and Negreanu was there on Zoom, and it was just like,
hi, Andrew.
This is crazy.
Yeah. It's mad. It is mad. Tony Ross in the chat says he misses Pete's lockdown vlogs.
Great.
Have you got any plans? Have you got any plans to do any
Wiggle
more?
Vision.
Have you got any plans to do any more of that kind of thing? Pete, did you enjoy doing it first of all?
I did actually enjoy it, because it kept me sane during that time.
Yeah.
And
you were good at it, Pete. They were very, very good. They were like informative. They didn't go on too long. They were really good,
I think Tony summed it up, Tony Ross, because he said it was more like Ricky Gervais talking poker. Which I did appreciate. I thought it was quite funny.
Very good.
No, I thought they were really good, the Wiggle Visions.
Fantastic.
So I will be, when I'm planning to go to Vegas. I know you guys are obviously heading off soon, and Natalie even sooner. But I plan to go to Vegas for the fall series. So the Win Classic and the Venetian Classic, fall classics as well. So I do usually do a vlog for that, which I normally do for my backers, but I may extend that. And
when is that?
I may well be back out there in the autumn. You never know.
Yeah, I think I might go back out as well at that time, just purely because I want to see some sports again. I want to get out to see a Raiders game. We talked about this on Sunday.
Can I come as well then? If we're all going, can I come?
Yeah, of course you can.
Let's do a sports and poker trip for the fall classics.
I like it.
Well, one good thing to do as well, which I still haven't participated in, but when I was out there, the rodeo was on down at South Point.
Oh, really?
And that looks amazing. They have it at 2 locations.
Okay.
So I definitely.
And there's the car. Is it NASCAR as well? There's the car race as well that I haven't seen yet that I want to see. But yeah, let's. I mean, I've done a sports trip for America, and it was just literally one of the best holidays I've ever had. So let's whoever wants to come, but lots of sport, lots of poker. Let's do it.
Yeah, because you've got the Golden Knights as well, haven't you? And
that's a lot of fun.
This is a big pot brewing. 33 bigs in the middle. Michael's got 30 behind, and Alex has got about 26 behind.
Yeah, it's all good,
let's see whether one of them has a pop in it. Alex is going to have a go. He is. Michael makes the call with Queen 6. He's got the trips, and Alex has made the flush. So that puts Alex in a huge position now. So he comfortably got way more than the other 3 together.
That's just a cooler, that hand.
Yeah, absolutely.
It really is. He's never.
There's no way Michael's getting away from that.
No, not when he's hit trips. He's got to believe he's ahead, and he's just waiting for Alex to, chuck his chips in. He's snap calling him, but unfortunately, obviously the flush comes, but he still can't fold there. I just don't think he could ever fold.
And we're going to guess that Michael's got 2.5 bigs, and therefore they're certainly going to go in.
They'll be in the
next hand or two. Yeah,
he may wait for his big blind, but with the running ante, he's probably going to get it in the next hand. I would have thought. Depends how nitty he is, because Dirk's only on 2.3 million. Oh, I chopped it.
Oh, he's folded this one as well. So
yeah, he may wait for his big blind because
it is going to be his big blind then.
Yeah, I don't think he can do anything else, but
no,
he's going to have to go with it.
Alex is obviously going to just min raise here. Yeah, there we go. There it comes. Yeah. And let's see where they play out.
Unfortunately, it's the same suit.
Yeah, it's going to need to hit.
Yeah.
Club.
And does.
Oh, he does.
Wow. And he does on the river. Gets
That's
a 3.
Wow,
gets a cheeky 3.
That must have been a percentage-wise. He must be.
Now, it's interesting spot here. I was going to say, if it had folded round to Michael, would he have just open shoved into Dirk?
Yeah, 100%.
What does he do now? Now he's got
his range has to be.
Oh, he's gone for it. He's gone for it. Obviously, he thinks he's strong enough.
Too live.
Has got to make
Too
the call.
live.
Oh, A6 is a very good spot.
He may actually hold here.
Needs to avoid a king or a jack.
Yeah,
and he does.
So he's moved back into 3rd position.
That's insane.
So the pressure's on Dirk.
Gosh, that's some. Come on, Dirk. I've been neglecting poor Dirk. I've forgotten about him.
I think that's the winning solution, though, Natalie. Leonardo and Joe have gone home.
Let's leave them to it.
Just ignore him and let him do his thing.
Yeah. It's been quite an interesting dynamic with my actual friend Dirk, not the fake Dirk that's on the poker tournament. In that,
is he fake
the
Dirk?
Fake Dirk, fake Dirk. Yeah. So Dirk is a player who I met in 2016, I think, in Vegas. We got sat next to each other on a table and just hit it off and talked. It was a win tournament, and then the next day we were at another tournament, I think in the Venetian. And got sat together on the same table next to but one to each other. I think that one the day after, and it was like, well, this is crazy. Exchanged email addresses, and actually, I don't think it was 2016 yet. Yeah, it must have been actually, because he said to us, the WSOPE was going to Berlin that September, and we made a pact that we would go out there and play. I'd never been to Berlin, and we did, and we met up with him and his family, and we've been buddies since. But recently, because of business restrictions, he's had to come off Facebook completely because of data breaches and data restrictions in his line of business. So our friendship has now gone back to the 1930s. We are pen pals. We write emails, we write long emails to each other. And
both all in. Sorry.
No, go ahead. No, this is more important.
Kings, wow.
Wow, what a time.
And he wiggle out
is it a jack?
Oh,
bloody hell.
Oh,
always a sweat. Well done.
There was a lot to hit there on that river, but
he had to fade out there.
Wow.
I'm guessing chips are going in, or is he's going to fold this one? It'll go in on his big blind next time for Michael, but Michael's back in the same position again.
Just a bit up and down.
So
you're just writing to each other.
Yeah, we're just writing to each other, and it's literally like if there's anything happened, we'll attach photos to the emails and say that I've just been on a trip, so I sent him Dublin pictures from the IPO. He's bought a house out in a lake, in some lake in Germany. So he sent pictures of that, and it's amazing. And it's like I just literally get a cup of tea every couple of weeks and sit and write a long letter. And it's some of it I try and translate into German because I'm very conscious that I don't speak German, but he does an incredible effort. He speaks very good English and he writes to me in English. So I'm trying to learn enough German to just give him a bit of a easier time.
There is no getting rid of Michael. It's just, there is no getting rid of Michael. He is back again.
Evo stick.
Yeah, unbelievable. Well, it's funny you mentioned about German players and him coming off Facebook. It's always been a weird one with players from Germany and poker. They're always very careful about where the names appear on social media.
Yeah, they are.
Back in the day with APAT, when a lot of German players first played with us, we had to be very careful about where we use their names on the APAT forum, and we had a whole little program thing, Des, didn't we, where we could take out their names and replace them and things like that, because because it was really tricky because they didn't want to be searched, or therefore necessarily the names to be associated with poker, which is perfectly understandable. But
maybe it's not as socially acceptable in Germany as it is in other. Yeah. But
well, that's going back. I mean, that's going back 10 plus years ago. So things are probably different today, but definitely it was a concern.
Yeah, it's funny we talk about making friends in poker for life, and he is definitely somebody who like I say, I would never have met him otherwise, and we just had this crazy time.
Talking about friends for life. Look in the chat, folks. We have
Vegas.
We have a hello from Vegas from Phil TC.
Oh, wow.
Phil, how are you doing?
Top guy,
Hope you
top
are
guy.
Well, I'm still in Vegas, but I think at some point heading on to LA, I believe, if I remember right
nice.
from a conversation. To be honest, the conversation I had with Phil in Dust Till Dawn when we were talking about Vegas was, yeah, I'll definitely be out there with you, Phil. Yeah, no, 100% Phil, I'll be in Vegas with you. Sorry, Phil. Yeah, we haven't quite made it yet. Haven't quite made it. But if you could hang on for another 3 weeks, I don't know what you got planned or going on, but if you could hang on for another 3 weeks, I could be there.
Let me tell you, Lee, because I saw a picture of Phil and Lil right on the Facebook yesterday, the day before. Lily, no, she looked marvelous, right? Phil, he looked burnt. He looked seriously burned. He can't be there for another 3 weeks, Lee. It's not possible. There isn't going to be anything of him left. He was pretty crispy the last time I saw him. By the
sunscreen, kids.
Looked amazing, though, I have to say. And I think Phil and Lily know how to do a holiday. Looked incredible. But yeah, another 3 weeks? I don't think so. The man's got to get back to work.
Well, I think the lads are flying back. I think Stu and the guys, are they flying back today or tomorrow?
Stu's coming back. Yes, Stu's
back today. I think so. I think he's back today
right.
with Matt, and then I know Phil and the family were staying. Or I think actually the girls might have been flying out to meet up with them afterwards. I think they didn't want the girls out there while Stu was out there because they were concerned that would be a bad influence.
Very bad.
On them. Yeah. So I'm not sure whether the girls would be a bad influence on Stu or the other way around. I'm not sure which way it was, but anyway. So.
I don't know. We were talking about this in our group the other day. I find it extraordinary that out the group of us, we're covering about 8 weeks of Vegas, and none of us overlap. We're all out at different times. It's shocking. Unless I stay out for a third week, obviously, then I'll.
You promised me you're doing your best to do that. So,
I need to take down the ladies, and I can play the main, and then I'll stay for the third week, and then I'll be there.
That would be good. That would be good.
Listen, Natalie, going back to your emails, right? I've done this occasionally when the opportunity presents itself. I like going back through old emails, right? So I'll search for certain topics, and then emails will come up in the search, and I'll go, oh, I remember that. So I have, on more than one occasion, saw an email from like 10, 12 years ago where somebody has sent me an email and I just haven't responded back. Right, just haven't responded. So, it'll be at the end of an email chain or whatever. It's got to end somewhere. So, I'll go on to it and I'll just, type a casual response, very casual response, ping that off, see what happens.
Oh, right? So look at you.
One bloke came back and says, oh, Des Duffy responds to me after 8 years. What the hell? Fantastic. It's absolutely brilliant. I go, what? You think I'm not busy?
Yeah, it's like, come on. Things to do, places to go, people to see.
Exactly.
Busy man. But yeah, it is very wonderful. And I think the art of writing a letter is going to be lost at some point. It's the way that the modern world has gone. So I've now got a friend that I can cling on to, just this idea that you write letters. And
when was the last time you hand wrote a letter to somebody?
Oh my word.
Well, I don't know if I'm a lawyer, so I do handwrite things a lot. Like we use wet ink things for a lot. I would say actually not so long ago, because I acted for an elderly client of mine who was selling a property in London, and she was a truly wonderful woman, and she used to call me all the time to talk about anything and everything.
So you hand wrote the whole letter?
At the end, no. So the conveyancing letters and the property, the legal documents were all appropriately done on letterhead and signed. But at the end of the transaction, I wrote her a handwritten letter to say.
So the full letter was handwritten.
The whole letter, yeah. And I got some nice stationery, and I wrote it out in full with a nice pen and not in my horrible lawyer's handwriting, in some decent handwriting. And I wrote her just a lovely. It was a personal letter just to say how much I enjoyed our conversations about places we would talk about going to visit that I said I would visit, and I would keep in touch, and wishing her all the best. So that was in a professional / personal capacity. But I still send cards. I send Christmas cards every year because I don't want that to die out. I send birthday cards. I send Christmas cards to people who I don't live near, rather than like work colleagues. And I will. And actually, the biggest one is my nursery school teacher. So when do you go to nursery? Is that like 3 to 6? However that is. Yeah, we have the same birthday, and every single year since I left nursery school, we have sent each other a card, and she just celebrated her 90th birthday. So we've never missed a year, and every single birthday, I write her a letter. And in our cards, we write a 6 month, because we do Christmas and birthdays, we write what we've been up to. So that's always a handwritten letter as well. So
nice.
Yeah. So I would say I'm an exception, not the norm though. I can't imagine Pete Wigglesworth's handwritten a letter recently.
I have. Not recently, no.
I didn't mean ever, Pete. Come on.
I can read and write, honest.
It's like a bailiff note on a door, get out by Tuesday or else me and the boys are coming round.
Do you think it's more of a female thing though to write a letter? I would say it's probably more of a female tendency to handwrite a letter than
Probably.
male.
I used to write to an old girlfriend, which would have been sort of my first year of uni. So we're talking back in, that would have been what, 94.
After you'd separated?
No, we were together for that year. So whilst we were both at different.
Okay.
That's probably about the last time I would say I've actually properly written a letter to somebody. So it's a long time ago. That's what 28 years ago. So
I've got a similar sort of. I've got a similar sort of story, Lee, in that I came to England when I was about 20, I think I was. I came from the west of Ireland, and my mother, God rest her soul, she used to write me letters, right? So that was what it was done. But you're looking at the very late 80s, she would send me letters. And of course, these letters were, they were long and they were beautifully written and stuff like that. And I would keep them. And then I had an Irish girlfriend, and she would send me letters, and I would write letters back. And of course, I kept all the letters. The only problem was my girlfriend found the letters.
Awkward. How quickly did she set fire to them?
It was. They still exist. I think they might still be upstairs in this house.
Oh wow.
Well, you don't throw out your mother's letters, right? And unfortunately, all the other letters, they were just all put
in there together as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's quite interesting. I think this works both ways as well. And I'm very similar.
Bastard Brooke, did you see what he just wrote? Did you see what he just wrote? Did you see what he just wrote? The absolute tit. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Can we ban him? Do we have a ban, Stickley? I reckon he's at us both tonight. He's at us both.
Oh my God, that's
seriously, Simon Brooke, I genuinely love you. You are just the best.
How many APATers actually wrote to Jim will fix it? I certainly did.
I did.
Did you?
Can I just say I didn't?
What did you ask for, Pete? I remember.
I used to do long distance running. I actually wanted to run with David Bedford.
Oh.
Which most people won't remember, but he was a really popular long distance runner at the time.
That's a good one. Mine's obvious. I asked if I could train with Burnley. But
was it?
Oh, brilliant.
Girls didn't play football back in the day. I was a keeper when I was playing, but it was it's one of my regrets actually. I wish that the opportunity for women in football as a playing level existed when I was at school, because I would have absolutely been a lioness. That would have been my career choice. But
there's a girl that we used to play football every summer. So pretty much that was our summers when we were growing up. The 6 weeks off, you'd pretty much friend would knock on the door, and you'd be out at 9 a.m. You'd be playing football over on the playing fields till basically you came back for your tea. That was pretty much it. Your mum never had a clue where the bloody hell you were for that. But there was the elder sister of a lad that we used to play with. She was called Rebecca. I'll tell you what, cracking footballer, and you certainly wouldn't go to tackle against her. She'd absolutely, say, legs from out underneath you. And I always think, wow, if she'd have had the opportunity that there is now to play football, because she was really, really good, and there was just nothing. There was absolutely nothing, no opportunity whatsoever in South Wales.
There was none in the country. Yeah. I'm quite excited for the Euros this summer. I think the Lionesses are going to win it. I'm sad Steph's not there, but it's the right decision. I am hugely impressed and excited by Leah Williamson's reign as Lionesses captain, because I think she's a brilliant choice in terms of leadership and playing ability, but also her social media presence is.
Are you going to any of the games? Have you got
they're only when I'm in Vegas. So I think
the whole thing is whilst you're in Vegas.
Most of it. I think I couldn't get tickets for the final or this. I think one of the tickets, I was in the ballot right at the beginning, and the only ticket that I was successful for was I think the third group game when we're in Vegas or something like that. But I tried to get final tickets and I couldn't get them. So what I'm hoping for is that there'll be returns because as some of the countries get knocked out, there'll be general sale, and I will for some of the later ones. But I think we stand an incredible chance. I'm really excited. And did you see this week as well? For apologies if this is really, really boring for people who don't follow women's football, but Lucy Bronze has signed for Barcelona.
Yeah,
Barcelona.
I saw that.
That is
Huge.
some move.
Huge.
She will massively excel in that squad for sure.
So I think the challenge that England will face is they're coming in off of a huge season of huge big wins. I mean, they're in the same group as Northern Ireland, but they humiliated them in qualifying and stuff like that, right? So expectation is almost unreasonably high because there are lots of good women's football teams in that comp. And I think England are expected to win it, probably reasonably, but it's whether they can with that weight of expectation on them. It'd be really interesting to see. I hope they do. It'd be amazing.
Yeah, I think I'm not of the school of. I've always been the school of thought that expectation is a good thing. I don't think it necessarily needs to be a negative. I'm feeling a lot more confident with Serena at the helm than I was with Phil Neville, who was just an idiot. Yeah. And I'm very glad he's gone. I think she will keep them calm, but I think the modern Lionesses, they're so savvy now, and they are used to that pressure, and they are out there in the world, in social media all the time. They live their lives in the public eye. So what we would consider to be massive pressure, they don't see it as pressure. And I don't know.
But you'd say exactly the same of the men's team, though, wouldn't you? Tremendous ability, tremendous potential. Yeah. They've got all of that experience and stuff. Rarely deliver.
I think the men's team are less prolific on social media than the women's team are. The men's footballers, they have PR. They don't have their own Instagram password. It's all run by media companies. What they post isn't theirs. Everything's done that way, and they live their life on social media, not at a personal level. They live it as a PR move. Most of the women's professional footballers in the WSL and the Lionesses, they don't have that luxury. So they post what they are. They're used to being in control of their own PR and their own social media. So I think there is a difference. And also, wrongly, my opinion, but also there is a higher expectation on the England senior men's team than there is on the women's.
Yeah. There was a lovely lady called Rachel Ellis who, bless her cotton socks, she used to follow my little football Twitter account.
Oh, hang on. All in the call, Des.
Oh, let's do it.
Marcus got nines. King
Look at those
10 for Alex, and the 10s are looking good.
It's all
and
over.
Alex is going to bust Marcus Miller. And if you look, fake Dirk, has only got seven bigs. Alex,
come on, fake Dirk.
This could be over.
72
very
minutes, Lee.
Here.
72 minutes to this point.
Yeah.
I think the interesting thing with that as well was Alex, rightly so, with his dominant chip stack, was bullying the other two people, and Dirk built his chips back up to about 11 million. And then Alex managed to get a hand against him where he crushed
Here we go.
him.
King 3 versus King 5.
He's at
Fives are going to hold, so Dirk's going to get a double up, but still, it's only 18 bigs, so Alex has still got a very 5-1 chip lead.
Yorkshire against Lancashire. Although Alex is from Lancashire, so.
Oh, you picked Alex, didn't you?
I picked Alex, yeah.
Yeah, come on, Dirk.
Dirk wears white socks.
Is it white roses?
This would be amazing because of the 10 that.
Oh wow!
Oh bloody hell! Look at that! What a pick!
Double up for Dirk again.
Wow!
I was about to say,
back in it.
If Alex wins this would be pretty impressive because he started day 2 as 9th of the 10 with 23 bigs. So to even get to the heads up point in here has been a pretty good ramping up through the gears of these final 2 tables that we've been watching.
I did get an opportunity to take a bounty in the PLO8, and it happened to be Tristan.
Oh, you can't take Tristan out. That's not on that.
Well, I had Ace King 3, so I raised under the gun. I had King 3 of diamonds. He put himself all in with Ace King 8-3, so he had a slightly better low. King 3 of spades, and we ended up chopping the pot, so that was uneventful.
Nice.
And now I'm on a table with Richard Ansell, Ben Sweetman, someone called Paul Simon Haycock. Does anyone know him?
Simon, yeah. Bridge over troubled water, yeah.
No, Paul Simon Haycock.
Boxer.
Yeah.
I am just a poor man, though my story Anyway,
pretty much it.
Rachel Ellis. Listen, I've got to finish
yeah,
the story.
Rachel Ellis.
Finish the
Because
Rachel
you were
Ellis
making
story,
the
yeah.
point quite rightly that the England ladies footballers were much more personally involved in social media, and poor Rachel Ellis passed away today. She was a big Liverpool women's fan. She went to all of the games. You know, she would have been in her, I'm going to say, mid-50s. She was disabled. She was in a wheelchair. But several of the Liverpool ladies footballers today posted up pictures with her at the ground and stuff like that. So it was exactly what you said. You know, they were personally involved. This was just a fan. She wasn't anybody other than a fan, but they were all able to post pictures with her. Very sad.
So, yeah, it's a much tighter knit community, and there's a much stronger connection to the fans, and I think I think because of the fight that's having to be had in terms of making football more accessible for women, I think the Lionesses particularly feel a greater responsibility to get girls playing and to do grassroots, whereas I think a lot of the luxury for the men's team is that whilst they're passionate about that and they want to have their opportunities, the foundations are already there. That
completely.
There's so much opportunity for boys to play at school level. So yeah, I'm loving it's a generation too late for me, but I love women's football and I love this Lionesses generation, and I'm just really excited by the whole thing.
Yeah, I agree completely. I can't wait to see this tournament kick off. I'm going to say July 4th.
Yes. So, actually, no, I tell a lie. Sorry, I did have, as well as tickets for the third round, I got through the lottery to get tickets for Old Trafford for the opening game, but I'm in Vegas. That's a sellout. Yeah, it's a sellout. So there's going to be what's Old Trafford hold, Lee's? It's 70,000, something like that.
Yeah,
76,000 fans will watch England's opener at Old Trafford. I wish I could have been there. I really do. Be incredible.
Let's hope it doesn't rain, eh?
Yeah. All right.
What did I miss there? What was the joke?
Leaky roof. They've got a leaky roof at Old Trafford. They haven't fixed anything in ages. If it rains in the south stand, you just get showered upon. It's like a cow on a flat rock.
It is falling to bits a bit. It's looking a bit dodgy as Old Trafford, Lee. They could do with spending some money on that stadium.
They've got plans, but whether they do anything is another thing altogether. We will see. Just looking at the fixed limit hold'em comp, there is one Jeffrey Kimber playing in that tonight.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I did see Jeff in the in a couple of the satellites earlier on, because he does like to get in for the min and all that. So good luck if
yeah, he was. I think he was on my table actually in the Sunday PLO8, the first tournament, second one.
Jeff, of course, left Grosvenor. Did he ever sign up with anybody else?
Nope.
Don't think so, no.
He has been working since. Yeah, he's been doing a few things with other companies, but not from a poker level, no.
Yeah, good to see
I think he wanted a break. I think he wanted a break from sponsorship.
I think that's fair enough. That is fair enough.
I mean, I understand as well. I mean, the Grosvenor sponsored pros are the hardest working pros in the business. They what's demanded of them is incredible. Just the hours that they've got to put in the extracurricular stuff on top. I mean, don't get me wrong, they'll love it and they're very privileged that way, but it's it's a hard gig. It's a hard gig that those guys have.
Too right. I see Danny Cam has joined us in the chat box. Go on, Alex Montgomery, smashing it, mate.
He certainly is. He's got a 2-1, comfortable 2-1 chip lead here against Fake Dirk. As
Fake Dirk's going to take this down. Mark my words. Come on, Fake Dirk. Don't let me down. Don't let Wigglesworth beat me.
So you should just confirm that Marcus Miller from the UK finished in third, picking up a cool $2,033. Plus, obviously, we'll get the APAT bronze medal for that one as well. But don't forget to pick up any added value, whether it be APAT medals, whether it be WCOAP bracelets or any added value tickets. You do need to be registered on apat.com. It takes about 30 seconds to do, just to stick your details in. So we've got an email address. It's basically so we're able to contact you easily, really, is the main reason for it. So we can actually confirm things like, certainly for these online ones, address details and things like that, so we can actually get the medals out to you. We do ship worldwide. if necessary. So far this week, there'll be medals going to Georgia, medals going to Kazakhstan, Bulgaria, and certainly there's going to be a medal going to Germany, to Dirk. It's just whether it's going to be gold or silver. He's all in. Alex makes the call. Falls versus sevens.
Wow. This could be
Falls
it.
are going to need to hit, and he hits on the turn. Wow.
Told you.
It's a 4 for Dirk.
And Dirk
On the
takes the
turn.
lead.
Fake Dirk is winning this. Mark my words.
4 on 4th Street for
Wow.
That's sick.
Well, it's not over,
You're
guys.
right- you're right
It is
there,
not
Pete.
over.
No, I feel it. I just threw up, I think.
Wigglesworth hates losing to me, I think.
I'm
more
not
than
quite
losing to
sure what
anybody
took
else.
Alex. So I mean, I think the sevens is a pretty much a snap call.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know
100%.
what it did. He did ponder it for a few seconds, but he could be multi-tabling and could have a few games on the go tonight. So
Well, Tom Bacon offers some analysis. He simply says, yuck.
that's pretty accurate
I
from
mean-
Tom there, I think. Yeah, that is pretty accurate.
Story checks out.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing for about $1,200 here. So it's 2,893 for second and 4,131 up top. So
That is pretty chunky.
there's a fair pay difference here between first and second. Well worth winning, that's for sure. Our bounty hunter winner last night ended up picking up over $5,000 in total,
Oh, nice.
including bounties last night.
Oh, come on.
Certainly some action flops, which is getting both players active in this heads up. It's been a good one. It really has. So Late Reg has closed now in both the other events for tonight. So thank you to everybody that supported those and played tonight. The fixed limit hold'em ended up with 74 runners. We needed 50 to hit the guarantee. So absolutely smashed that tonight. So I hope you all enjoy that comp. We're down to 41 in that one, and it's paying top 13. There's just shy of $1,000 up top for that one tonight. The PLO8 knockout ended up with 154 runners. So again, we beat the guarantee.
Lovely.
In that. That's going to pay out just pretty much $600 to first and second, plus what obviously you'll pick up in bounties as well. So I'd probably see the first place picking up somewhere at least $1,200. I'd have thought by the end of that one. So.
And you get your chunky
plus
medals.
obviously all of you that finish in the top 3 of any of the events during the World Series of Poker. World Series of Poker, World Championship of Amateur Poker.
That's about the third time you said that, Lee, by the way. I
goodness
just stopped
me.
correcting you. It's fine.
It's too many.
We're only
too many
3
events
days in.
going
He's
on at the
tired
same
already.
time. Yeah. Pick up APAT medals as well. So and obviously the events at Dusk Till Dawn plus the main event of the online will pick up a WCOAP bracelet. They are the side event bracelets, and if you're lucky enough to win the main event, it looks like that, which is
Look at that beauty.
solid silver dipped in 18 karat gold.
Dipped in
Very
marmalade.
nice indeed, with Austrian crystals there. Delightful. Plus, of course, a rather tasty £3,300 UK millions seat for the main event winner as well. So
When is
very
that?
nice.
Is that going to scupper our US plans for the fall classic?
what our main event?
No,
No,
the
millions.
millions.
Oh, the millions is December.
Ah, yeah, excellent.
Yeah, end of November, beginning. I think it's last week in November, beginning of December. So.
Yeah, I've got to say, this has become a real poker player's pledge now. Is that I'm desperate to get my hands on one of those win trophies. Oh, they are. I mean, I think they should just give me one. I don't think I should have to play for them.
Alex has got the chip lead back here.
Yeah,
back to a 2-1 chip lead, same as it was about 10 minutes ago. So this is far from over.
Yeah, he's keeping the pressure on.
Come on, fake Dirk. You know, I'm going to report this in my next letter to the real Dirk. I'm going to tell him all about. I'll send him the link. I'll say all about the night. Oh, I won't be able to see it on Facebook. But,
Can you explain?
No,
about
it's on YouTube.
Oh, it's on YouTube, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can you explain about the 20-year-old escort before he goes through that hole? That whole.
If I know Dirk well, his mind will automatically go on to an actual.
We only stream on YouTube, so Simon Lawler can watch Pete in widescreen. That's the only reason we do it. So.
We do actually get a lot of really high quality comments from YouTube. Let me just put one up.
That's the 20-year-old escort comment that's done that. The algorithm's picked up.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening there, bro, but yeah. Obviously, APAT YouTube is where you need to be.
Clearly.
Yeah. That's why Simon's there. Obviously, yes.
He's got it on the big screen. Oh, fantastic. That's a cracker.
But yeah, we do. I mean, we do mix it up. So we say these days we're streaming in the Facebook group, but we're also on stream live on YouTube, and we can sometimes when the feeling is there, we will stream on twitch.tv/poker, which is another good place to pick up on poker content as well. So.
I'm just looking through the chip leaders in the PLO8, and one of my friends, Graham Pound's, doing well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I saw that. Graham was in the top 10, yeah. And Danny Weaver's just behind him.
And Carl Pilgrim's in there, Simon Brooke.
Michael Riley as well, another one.
Yeah. And who else? Oh, Neville Harrington. So there's quite a few names.
Well, let's hope Graham makes it through to day 2. Let's also hope that Simon Brooke makes it through to day 2, and then we can spend some of tomorrow night just abusing him back.
To be honest, if Simon's through to day 2, we can already pretty much ship the silver medal, can't we? I mean, that's that's pretty much just done. Yeah, so. Won't be a problem at all.
Jim will fix it. I mean, I'm left thinking, Peter, that if you'd asked to run with Jim as opposed to Mr. Bedford, you might very well have been chosen.
It might have done. Could have been scarred for life.
Indeed.
I did actually watch a program on Netflix. It was quite interesting.
I've seen that.
Oh, it's harrowing, is that?
It's so scary that so many people were aware of it and, suspected it, and just nobody took it any further. It's just horrendous.
Well, he moved in pretty powerful circles, didn't he? I mean, it seemed as if powerful people were beholden to him as opposed to the other way around. It was really odd. Yeah.
That's a reoccurring theme of most of these stories, is that it's just these people getting themselves in a position of power and abusing that power. It's just...
Well, it sort of makes you wonder how many others were in that club who haven't yet been outed.
Yeah, it's something I choose not to think about just because you wouldn't sleep at night. There was along a similar lines. I know Netflix is particularly popular with real crime dramas and things like that, but I did watch there is a documentary on the Yorkshire Ripper as well which is it made my blood boil. Just the level, the callousness from him, but also the just utter incompetence of the police was shocking, and what's the word I'm looking for? Just the attitudes towards the women that he was targeting as well. It's just a generational thing, but actually it's quite alarming that it wasn't really that long ago. So yeah, I would recommend that as a series if anybody.
Yeah, Spotlight's good as well if you've seen that.
That's an excellent movie.
Yeah, I think some of the actors in
Michael Keaton, he's incredible.
Yeah, I love that film.
I loved him in the Spider-Man movie, but obviously, I love that movie. That's really good, and it's the Hulk's in there as well, isn't it? He plays one of the what's it called, Mark Ruffalo. Yeah. That's
talking Netflix documentaries. Well, firstly, so Sky Atlantic have just finished showing their dramatization, The Staircase.
I've heard mixed reviews about that. What's it like?
Yeah, very good, very good. So it's about a suspected murder that happens back in 2004 or something like that. So, but at the time there is a documentary that gets done whilst it's all being investigated or whatever. You can watch that documentary on Netflix, and they include the documentary in the dramatization that they've now done.
Wow.
So it's like so I think probably watch the dramatization first, which is about a 6-parter, and get that in. Then if you want to go back and watch the kind of, here's what exactly happened, you can do that. But yeah, fascinating. We're all intertwined together. The dramatization, the actual documentary. It was done by Oscar-winning director, I think, French director that did the documentary. Yeah, fascinating story. Really
I tell
is.
you, I don't know if any of you have seen it yet, but I think it's a Sky original, The Lazarus Project.
Yeah, it's just started, isn't it? Yeah.
It really interesting concepts. They've maybe slightly overcomplicated it, but there is a Halloween scene in it, which is very tied into the story. So I won't give you any spoilers, but it's quite a unique scene. Yeah, I don't know. I can say any more really, but it's an interesting story.
Leave it at that. Yeah, it's got it on my list.
Has anyone been watching Stranger Things? Has anyone
No, I'm gonna start that. I think
haven't seen this season. I've heard good things.
I was just surprised that Kate Bush is number one, isn't she?
She is indeed.
Amazing what can happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I want to watch that. I've heard good things.
Yeah, it's fun. Right.
Nobody wants to win this. This heads up.
Dirk's wrestle back the lead again.
Yeah, it's
ebbing and flowing.
Amazing. Yeah.
Great heads up as this.
Nobody quite wants to take it down though.
Alex will definitely want to win this. He'll want the trophy.
No, he's not going to get it. Sol's Alex.
Yeah, we can't have false Dirk. Dirk the German.
Yeah, we can. Definitely can. Come on, fake Dirk. Oh, come on, hold. Oh, yes.
What are you playing?
I'm just playing heads ups.
Oh, right. Okay.
I've been playing against this guy for ages and he's talking trash in the chat box to me. And I'm just like, whatever.
Fair enough.
Whatever, Minga.
Whatever.
I tell you quietly, this has turned into a bit of an epic heads up battle here. It's
bad.
Quickly, there's lots of action. But
Dirk's now taken moved up to comfortably over 2-1 chip lead now. I think this is the strongest position he's been in so far. I think.
Yeah, I think
this heads up. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Alex will be looking for an opportunity to get it all in pre-flop. I think, but because I can't see him wrestling it back the way it is.
No, it's just squeezing a little bit more there now. Let's
all in call. Fake Dirk wins.
Gets lucky on the river.
Well, I mean, what was it? The one the night before was it 4s versus 7s, wasn't it? So sometimes it is just a case of two, half decent hands, and that's good enough to go with.
Yeah, I mean, Alex got it in bad with ace 10 against ace queen and hit the 10 didn't he, as well. So
yeah,
they both had their fair bit of luck.
You can't
keeping you up.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm very sleep deprived. I'm quite looking forward to this flight because I'm going to sleep for 9 hours.
Oh, sounds like a plan.
Do you remember a little while ago in the chat where John Sibley said he'd gone from 20,000 up to 140,000? Now it was John Murray's turn.
That's right. Yeah.
John is now currently 7th of the 36 remaining left in the fixed limit hold'em.
Wow.
So
wow, it's all over the place. And what about John Sibley?
Can't see John on the first list, but that's not to say he's not there.
Well, you're having a look at there. Andreas Kabort, who you'll remember from WCOPs of the past, is messaging Stefan. He's going to go to Silverstone probably. So I guess that's on the Tuesday or the Monday. Drew Adkins is there as well. Drew SA, one of our favorite Canadians, qualified for the $109 event number 11. Is that the bracelet event?
It is the bracelet event, Drew. Yes, it is the bracelet event.
John Murray took John Sibley out.
John went X in about 50th. 52nd, I think it was. So.
There was a comment earlier on, and that now makes complete sense of it.
This is a pot. 20 bigs in the middle. Alex has gotten 13 behind. It's all gone in. Is Dirk going to make the call? No, he doesn't.
Wow.
Doesn't make the call. So Tom Bacon now currently chip leader in the fixed limit hold'em.
He can give Natalie some training.
Definitely.
Not based on what he was trying to explain his tactics were earlier on. I'm not sure.
That sounded a bit strange. That works though.
Yeah, it's doing okay for him. They're down to 34 now in that, so it's paying top 13. I mean, it's say although it's a fixed limit tournament, it does kind of flow along quite nicely as far as exits go. So
I tell you, that has gone quicker than I thought it would do, Lee. I mean, I wasn't expected to move that quickly. But
yeah, I mean, if you look, I mean, Tom's, I mean, what they're playing blinds, they're currently playing at 5K. So the limits are 5K, 10K at the moment. And Tom Bacon's chip leader with 570K. So it's technically he's got sort of 57 of the limits. If that's the right terminology, Pete, you'll have to help me out with that. Yeah, and most people there, I think, the average stack is 224,000. So actually, it's playing. You can easily lose with would I be right in saying, Pete, with blinds at limits at 5K, 10K, and an average stack is 220,000.
Yeah,
you can comfortably lose half your stack in one hand.
Definitely, yeah,
easy, yeah,
because it's double on the, like I said, on the turn. So
yeah,
the bet. I just lost a big pot in the PLO8.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
Natalie, a little tip for you. If you're feeling tired, what you need to do is to turn on the subtitles on Facebook, right, for the stream, and we all look like absolute half-wits. It's quite funny.
Really?
Yeah. It's really quite amusing. It's quite amusing.
Yeah, I thought I'd have a problem with my accent.
Pep of energy. I've been absolutely really tired over the last couple of days as well.
There we go. John Sibley in the chat says has 57 bets. Thank you very much.
There you go.
There we go. That's exactly the terminology that we were looking for from somebody that actually plays the game. There we go.
Oh my God.
As everybody knows, I'm just here to keep score with spreadsheets. I'm not, I don't claim to do anything other than that.
Love a spreadsheet.
I double back up off Neville Harrington.
Good man.
Well done. Nice one.
I think the first time we looked at a PLO8 game, Lee, in the stream, and we've referred to this many, many times, but the reality was we just weren't expecting it. And when the first hands played out, it was a case of, what are we going to say here?
The showdowns happen so quick, and the cards are gone before you've got a chance to even work out what. And of course, you're trying to work out a high hand and a low hand.
That's right.
And it literally flashes up on the screen.
Who have we got on tomorrow? Who's commentating?
We're double Danning down tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we have Dan
Williams
and Dan Austin tomorrow night.
So, they'll save our bacon, Lee. They will save our bacon. I'm sure they will. But
so many of us, the games.
So many of our statements started with he had it's gone. It's gone.
They're already on the hand. 2 hands after that. Yeah.
4 hearts. Somebody's going to love this.
Are out there.
1 big blind. It's not going to take it, is it? Well, it might do. It's a small.
There's no heart. It's no heart. It'll take it.
He's finding out where he is.
Oh, hello.
Oh, hello. How big's your heart?
Wow.
6 of hearts. Good enough.
He had no hearts.
It's an interesting bet from Alex, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was just he asked the question really. Tried to put pressure back on him, but he was never calling on the river. Even any bet he's folding.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel like you feel, Natalie. Yeah.
It's just because we've had 3 nights and the bouncer has been like 1 a.m. sleeps and then up at 6 for work, and it's taking its toll.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, every single time I get a little bit of space, I'm trying to pack my case and get my work done and stuff like that. So listen, don't feel sorry for me. It's just.
I've already made the decision. I'm packing very light. I've decided. Just gonna.
It's quite hard to do that for 2 weeks, mainly because.
I'm going to pack for like 5 days and
just do some laundry.
I'll just
do some shopping.
Do some shopping and
go. All you need is your debit card and your toothbrush in your back pocket. That's all you need, Lee.
Yeah, that's
your
not
passport.
A bad strategy.
Off you go.
Yeah, I can't. I'm not overthinking it.
I'm not a massive fan of clothes shopping, so I don't really want to do that horrible exercise on holiday.
I just need to get out and just have a break. So I'm not really worried. I'm not eating much either, so I'm not going to spend much on food. It's going to be great.
Hopefully I'll be there.
Couldn't you just commit a crime or something, Lee, and just get a cheaper short holiday? I mean,
with no food and no.
I don't think they let you into the States if you've committed a crime. I think that's a bit of a no-no.
It sounds to me as if you don't necessarily need to go to the States. You just need a quiet sort of week away somewhere.
Yeah, that's not a bad
No
idea.
clothes, no food, no luggage. I mean, I'm beginning to see, a possibility, really. Strange ways, maybe.
Yeah, it could have been worse. I thought you were going to suggest Love Island. So there,
Lord, no.
Yeah.
I'm quite proud of the fact that I've never watched a single episode of that show.
Likewise. But I've got to tell you, and I'm not proud, I've fallen into, and I blame Sean for this one, I've fallen into Below Deck. It's absolute, just...
Oh, is that the boat thing?
20-year-old
Garbage, but it's...
again.
Is that the boat thing?
No,
Yeah,
it's the boat thing. So it's
the boat crew. The boat
people,
crew. Yeah?
people run a boat. So there's no, it's not,
Yeah,
there's
okay.
nothing, it's not like Love Island or anything like that, but it's about people charter a boat for like 2 or 3 days, and they're generally quite wealthy. And of course the crew have to run the charter, and there's all sorts of little dramas and stuff like that. Oh, it tends to be a late night watch with her upstairs.
Oh wow.
I shall give that a.
Just an update on the PLO8. I made a bit of a schoolboy error on Sunday because I went out in about. I was hanging it in there, and I got it in with aces against ace 2, 3, 4, I think it was, and I lost the flip. But I made a bit of a schoolboy error in that there were 38 players left, and I didn't realise that 32 got paid. So,
well, here's the warning for you, Pete. There's 32 players left, and 29 get paid.
yeah, I know. I'm looking.
So,
I'm
so
27th.
there's
the
the warning, so you know. And we're playing to level 21 tonight, which is going to be.
Well, I want to at least get my money back, so I'll be trying to scrape into the money.
If you see a spot, presumably you have to take it, right?
Well, it depends on the strength of the hand. If I'm not
Of
folding
course,
aces, I'm not folding aces, king 10 or something like that. So it really depends.
Well, you and Haycock are doing a great job of knitting it into the money without even taking a single bounty.
Yeah, exactly.
That doesn't surprise me. Such a nit is that guy.
Yeah. So
he's had his chips in, I tell you.
Pete's currently 28th of the remaining 32. Paul is 30 of the remaining 32, and neither of them have taken a bounty. There's probably only Mark Lasman hasn't taken a bounty. And that's about there's a couple of German players that have got bigger stacks, but yeah,
there's only one player who's you probably know Peter Wigglesworth.
Yeah.
He's second in chips. He's a very, very good PLO8 player. Probably one of the best I've played against, to be honest.
But hanging on in there, say 32 left, top 29 are going to get paid. It's a min cash of it's pretty much your money back plus whatever bounties you've taken. In the case of Paul and Pete, that's going to be basically just your.
Well, one guy's got $178 in bounties. Pete Wins was second with 87. And then Isaac Fraser, 79. So that's pretty impressive.
And back on this 6 max, and they're pretty much even stacks again now. 35 bigs against 33 bigs. Nothing to between the two of them.
Absolutely fantastic heads-up game, though.
Right, 8 minutes to 11. We're going off at 11. So just tell them they've got till then.
Paul went all in. Paul Haycock. He managed to chop the pot.
Oh.
So he's still alive.
Talking about chopping and tournaments and things, Paul Haycock's the kind of life-nit who chops up a game of Killer Pool. I'm just saying. There are some people who will chop anything. Then there's me who will chop nothing.
Oh, dear.
I'll get some abuse for telling that story, but it's true. I gave him a lot of grief for that.
So Carl Pilgrim's still in the PLO8 as well. Just give a shout out to Carl.
Yeah, Carl's a very solid player. He's probably one of the better players that I've ever played against in PLO8.
I mean, I say it's Carl playing. I mean, he's taken a bounty, so I mean, it might not be.
Could be Emma. Could be Emma.
Yeah, it's more likely. That seems quite aggressive. It's probably Emma. Yeah. So, and all in the call, Queens versus the 8s.
And he doesn't
And
win
the
an 8.
Queens are going to get there. And finally,
Dirk.
Wow.
we're going to have a winner. And very well done indeed to
there we go.
Look at that. Very well done to Dirk Veal from Germany. Picks up $4,131 and the APAT gold medal. Alex Montgomery has to settle for the silver medal, $2,893. And as we saw earlier on, Marcus Miller from the UK picks up just over $2,000 and the bronze medal. What a great heads up that was.
That was amazing.
I genuinely thought when we came back with 10 players and we said, right, we're going to go live at 8 because we want to make sure we don't miss anything. I thought this could be an hour stream and we could be done, an hour and a half at tops. And we're nearly 3 hours in, and it took that long to find a winner, but a very worthy winner, I think, in Dirk. He came into the day 5th in chips, nice 50 big blinds to start with. And yeah, pretty much just was steady and got there in the end.
I don't think you can fault Alex's play at all. He played
very well.
Alex, considering Alex came in 9th of the 10 players with only 23 bigs. It's going to only go one way with Alex, but that wasn't very much a roller coaster. Heads up. Enjoyed that.
Fantastic.
Too, really good.
Yeah.
Lovely. Well, listen, guys, we are going to call it a night. So big thank you to Natalie and Peter. Are we seeing you again before you go, Natalie? I can't remember.
No, I'm gonna jump into the show on Sunday live from the World Series. If you remember, I'm gonna try and do a video link from there and show the guys the rooms. I don't know how much I'm allowed to video when I'm in there, but I'll try and stream.
Don't worry about that. You'll be fine.
I'm playing the tag team on Sunday, so I think just before the tag team starts, I'll be able, or just after it starts, I'll be able to call the show and I'll talk to you then.
Absolutely superb. Look forward to that. Peter, hopefully we're going to see you again over the remainder of this series. Hopefully we're going to see you in Nottingham. But, if there isn't anything else, I'll just say a big thank you to everybody who played tonight. Go for it again tomorrow night. Lee and I will be back from 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, depending on how we finish.
Yeah, it depends on how many come back for this PLO8. We're down to 31 already, and they've got to say another 5 levels to play. So it's going to be another hour's worth of play on this. So we'll see how it pans out. As I say, I've got a funny feeling this fixed limit hold'em is going to play through to a conclusion tonight, because I'm not seeing anything in the lobby that says it's going to pause. So for those of you still playing, there's 26 of you left in. It is what it is. It certainly can't get changed now, so it might well be. Hopefully, it's not going to be too late a one for you, but we'll certainly back with something tomorrow. We'll let you know in the Facebook group when exactly and what it's going to be. But what I will say for definite is, we're double danning down tomorrow. So we've got Mr. Austin and Mr. Williams in to chat poker. So looking forward to that tomorrow.
Absolutely, and the guys in the fixed
get
limit.
Good insight.
Oh, you're going to get a lot of good insight from the guys, but the guys in the fixed limit, right? Your other option is, of course, if you get down to 19, chop
it at 19.
Chop it at 19.
Chop it at 19.
Right, just take the money.
Don't chop. Never chop.
I'm only going to do that. I'm only going to do that if we keep my bounties.
I don't want to be thinking about Pete's bounties as the last thing I have tonight. And I think with that, guys, adieu.
All right.